Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. And we have a Tuesday 4 p.m. live stream, which I'm not expecting too many people to be here today. But welcome if you are watching at the moment. Do say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And let's get on with it. The good thing about midweek deadlines and the good thing about this period when there are lots of deadlines coming up thick and fast is that if you have a good week, you can still celebrate it in the same way. I don't think it reduces how much of a good week you have and how much you can celebrate that. But if you have a bad week, i.e. if you've got a red arrow in Game Week 14, Game Week 15 is only a couple of days later, and then Game Week 16 is after that. So it does reduce the amount of pain associated with a red arrow because you don't have to wait a full week after getting a red before you can dive into the next game week. So I do like the deadlines coming thick and fast. It is difficult for content. Doesn't make YouTube easy, but there will be no complaining from me, don't worry. Lots of people in the chat already, though. Already over 1,000 people watch me at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday. What a crazy life I live. Good to see you, although lots of the regulars in the chat as always. We have got Bashan in the chat spamming eggs. We've got Lukey Boy, of course. Good to see you, my man. Cammy Mitchell, how are you, Ross? I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for asking. Feeling good. Gary White from Bulgaria tuning in. Immortal Technique, as always, with the 5 emojis of dreams. We've got George from Kenya. Big up to Africa, big up to Kenya. We've got Stephen from Nigeria as well. Afternoon Ross from Skimpton. Proper early stream. It is a bit weird, isn't it? 4 p.m. on a Tuesday, but we do what we do what we must, I guess. Hello from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. What an international stream this is. Good to see everyone, and I really do appreciate you being here. And hopefully today, if you stick around with me, we're hoping for 2-3 things on this today's stream. The first is that I make a decent transfer. The second is that I help you guys out, but also that we might get some early team news, especially around Arsenal. A couple of people looking at the Arsenal defence, wanting to know, is there a chance Gabriel or Zinchenko miss out? The straight answer is no. I think it will be White, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko, but they could do. I've got Martinelli in my team still. Will he start? So we might get a little bit of early team news, and like I said, hopefully help you with your questions that you have for Game Week 15. So I haven't actually made a transfer yet, and I'll be entirely honest, chat. I don't really know what I'm doing, and it's more so because I actually now don't know if I'm bringing Haaland back in for Game Week 16. And this isn't me being stubborn. This isn't me, when people like die on random hills, and it's like, that's not me saying that. Like, I think Haaland's great, but, and hear me out on this one, I am not happy with the sacrifices that I have to make to get Haaland back in 16. I probably have to sell Ollie Watkins, and I don't like that. He's the best captaincy option in 18, and I don't want to sell him, or I sell Trippier, which I'm not happy with. On top of that, it then means that the next 3 or 4 transfers that I make have to be dedicated to bringing in Haaland. The alternative option, let's just move over to the site so we can discuss this in a little bit more detail. The alternative option is that I go without Haaland, for Luton away, Crystal Palace at home, blank game week, Everton away, and then bring him back in Game Week 20. These are 3 good fixtures, and I would expect him to do well. But the reason that I like waiting until Game Week 20 is in Game Week 21, so you could sell them in 20, Son and Salah go off to the Asian Cup and Afcon. And I think if they're going to go anyway, everyone is going to have to sell Son and Salah. If I'm going to sell Son and Salah in Game Week 20 or 21, I'm going to have a load of money and freed up transfers at that point, probably, to be able to bring Haaland back in anyway. So I feel like rather than not wasting 3 transfers now, but utilising 3 transfers, which could be very useful to build up the rest of my team and put it in a good position going into blank Game Week 18, if I bring in Haaland, I would probably have to free hit because I would sell Watkins or Trippier. I would then have to use the next 3 transfers to bring Haaland back in. And then when I sell Son and or Salah, probably both in Game Week 20, I would have free funds anyway to then bring Haaland back in when I really want him. So it's not me being stubborn. It's not me saying that this is definitely the right technique, but I am second guessing whether 16, is it the right point to bring Haaland back in here when he has 3 fixtures rather than 4? And on top of that, like I said, I'm probably going to have to take a hit, and the next 3 or 4 transfers are all based around getting him in. I don't know. I could still end up doing it, but I guess now what I'm thinking is maybe make a transfer this week, which gives me a few more days to think about it. If I make a transfer this week, and we'll go through some in a second, where I don't shoehorn myself into bringing Haaland back in the 16, and instead just give myself a little bit longer to think, I wonder if that's the best way to do it. And then maybe I will still bring Haaland back in for 16, but it gives me a bit more time to think about it. So there we go. That's how I'm currently feeling at the moment. Right, we've already got a few super chats, so let me jump into those. Now get onto your questions as well. Do drop your questions in the chat. And apologies, as always, and I always say this, and I always feel really bad. There are so many messages in the chat. And if you feel like I'm deliberately ignoring your message in particular, please know that I'm not. I just look down, and whatever message I'm looking at that point, I'll read out. Nicholas says, yes, I'm super chatting already. Shout out Levi and FPL only looking forward. Love you, Alphabet. I'll be back, Discord. Love my beautiful big egg, Son Captain. Well, big up for the love and the shout out to all the Discord mods and the people in the Discord. Son Captain, I love it. I'm tempted. I won't do it. But I think Son will definitely start, whereas there are some subtle doubts around Salah. But I think they'll both start. But Son's minutes arguably even better at the moment than Salah's because they just can't not have Son in the team. And West Ham at home, feels like a fantastic fixture. So do you know what? I don't hate the idea of Son captain. I really don't. Shazam says, great to see you on the early stream, Ross. Which do you prefer for cash swap, Porro or James? If you think James is fully fit, and if you think James will start a similar-ish or the same amount of games as Porro, I think Reece James is a better option than Porro. The issue is we can't confirm that. We don't know if Reece James is fully fit. We don't know that he will start the same amount of games as Porro, and Porro feels much more nailed. The thing with James, I think James has better fixtures in the short term, and I also think that James is playing in a better defence, and I also think that James has a better end product. So I think James is a better asset than Porro. But just purely for the safety of minutes, I think I would still edge Pedro Porro. Believe it or not. As much as I love Reece James, I think Porro is probably the safer one to bring in. Greek says, hi, dude. I'm tempted to take out either Diaby or Palmer for Gordon. Would you do it? Thanks. The issue is Gordon was picked up a very minor, by the sounds of it, injury in game week 14. Could they rest him in this game? Maybe this is the game to give him a rest. Although Everton away isn't an easy game. I'd sell maybe Diaby for Gordon. Although, again, Man City without Rodri, playing a very high line at the moment. This does feel like a decent fixture for Diaby. Oh, that's a tricky one. I wouldn't do Palmer to Gordon. But Diaby to Gordon would tempt me, is the way that I'd word that. I also like Hwang as an option too. I think if you're looking for a cheap midfielder, not many people will go there because of the 4 yellow cards. But if you can get around the 4 yellow cards and you don't mind taking the risk, it's got Burnley at home and Nottingham Forest at home in the next 2. Don't mind Hwang. Dubravka or Sanchez? Dubravka. If you're making a goalkeeper transfer this week, it has got to be Dubravka, I think. Although I do still like David Raya and Sanchez, but Dubravka feels like a gift. He really does. So, chat, believe it or not, I'm just going to talk about my transfers very briefly. The transfer that I'm currently planning, I didn't even discuss in my team selection video, and it's actually Guehi to Tsimikas. Tsimikas, no, it's not. That would be a lie. It's Guehi to Livramento. Now, the reason I like this is because my other transfer that I could possibly make was Martinelli to Parma, but Martinelli feels like a better option this week. As bad as Martinelli has been recently, and as much as there is a small chance he doesn't start tonight, Luton away, I know Luton are decent enough defensively at home, but it still feels like a better fixture than Man United away. And it may well be that if I don't decide to bring Haaland in 16, I don't need to downgrade that Martinelli spot all the way to Parma. I could go for a Sterling. I could go for, if I end up selling Darwin, maybe a Liverpool midfield like a Diaz. I could go for Bruno Fernandes at some point. I don't have to downgrade that spot all the way. So I maybe want to leave that option open. I don't want to sell one of my forwards yet, just in case, once again, I decide to either go for Haaland or not go for Haaland. The forward transfers will influence my thinking. So maybe just a safe option, just the one transfer this week, is downgrade Guehi to Livramento, and then that would allow me to go into next week with 2 free transfers and 0.7 in the bank. What do you think of that? The only issue is it gives me a bit of a benching headache this week, but I think I would just bench Livramento still. So I know I'd be bringing in a player just to bench them, probably for the next 2 game weeks. But, yeah. Do you have a cold? Your voice sounds different. I don't think so. Sorry if I sound a bit weird. Martinelli scoring a banger incoming. Exactly. I've just got that feeling. Although I had that feeling last week and he hit the post, to be fair. He could have scored, but he wasn't great. FPL Zin says bench 1 of Tsimikas, Pedro Porro, Bowen or Alvarez. Oh, that's a very tough one. I would probably Bowen, in all honesty. Maybe Alvarez. Interesting, because I would always bench the defenders, but I feel like Tsimikas and Pedro Porro have such high upside this week. Maybe if you're playing Porro anyway, you really put all your eggs in one basket and bench Bowen. Back-to-back comments. Sound sensible, talking nonsense. That is the stark contrast of the comments that you receive as a content creator. Some people love it, some people hate it. Bench order, Taylor, Maguire, Archer. How many game weeks do you think Lascelles will get before Botman returns? I think Lascelles has probably got another 4 or 5 game weeks, I would imagine. So I think you'll get most of the good fixtures, but that's just a prediction. Bench order, Taylor, Maguire, Archer. I would just flip Maguire and Taylor. I'd have Maguire ahead of Taylor, just because it's at home, and I think Wolves are actually very good at Molineux. So I would have Maguire first sub, Taylor second sub, Archer third sub. Vagilis says, Trippier, Alvarez to Livramento, Haaland for a -4 or roll. Oh, that's a tricky one. That's a very tricky one. I don't like the idea of selling Trippier. He's just been so good, hasn't he? But to get Haaland in, and you still cover the Newcastle clean sheet with Livramento. Yeah, I'd be tempted by that, actually. If I had a simple move like that, then I would be more tempted. Matthew says, thank you very, very much for the super chat, by the way, Matthew. He says, have pretty much the same team, except no Darwin. Have Saliba. Okay. Did Isak for Alvarez this week and going to wait for Haaland. Next transfer, Raya or Sanchez. Best content, always look forward to your videos. I mean, fixtures-wise, it's Sanchez. A little bit cheaper to bring in Sanchez too. It depends. If you've already got an Arsenal defender, I would maybe look at Sanchez. If you don't, then maybe Raya is the smart move. Because despite the fixtures being tricky from game week 16 to game week 18, I still feel like the best defence at the moment to invest in is going to be the Arsenal defence. So I would kind of view it based on the players that you already own, probably. Jan says, Turner to Dubravka for a -4. I don't like... I don't think so, not for a hit. Not for a hit for me, I don't think. Ham with the super chat says, was great to meet you on Saturday. Was worth the drive up from Kent. Thank you very much. It was lovely to meet you. Sorry you had to watch the United horror show while we all wallowed in your pain. Yeah, Ham was sat next to me whilst I was watching the... So at the Nottingham meetup that we had on Saturday, I had to watch the Man United Newcastle game and it was rough. But thank you for the super chat and also thank you for travelling all the way from Kent to come see me and to come to the meetup as well. I appreciate it. Oh. João Pedro, question mark? I don't even know at this stage. I've been thinking for a while, João Pedro's far too good to sit on the bench and he just sits on the bench. So I've given up trying to predict Brighton. Brighton and De Zerbi is honestly more difficult to predict than Pep and Man City and Liverpool and Arsenal. I genuinely think Brighton are the most difficult team to predict. So I'm not going to attempt to. I do apologise. Rishi says, hello, Mr. Raptor. Hear me out. Is it worth taking a -16 hit to remove Lascelles, Martinelli, Mbeumo, Darwin, Alvarez? Already, not in a million years, to bring in James, Haaland, Palmer, Souček, Mabama. I'm not very opinionated like this normally, but I would go as far as saying that's the worst -16 you could possibly hope for. So no, you're taking out Mbeumo, who's a perfect asset. Darwin, who's got great 2 fixtures if he starts at least one of them. Lascelles, who is great for the upcoming period as long as Botman's not back too quickly. Martinelli's got Luton. Alvarez is starting to look good again. And for a -16. If it was on a wild card, I understand that they are comparable, but not for a -16 for me. Sorry. Hi, Ross. Still recovering from selling Son and Watkins for a hit. Ouch. Would you play Bowen or Cash? Would you play Bowen or Cash to Porro for free and play him instead of Bowen? I would just... I mean, Cash to Porro is nice. Yeah, I'd be tempted by Cash to Porro, actually, Mark. Because I think Porro's a good long-term option. He's going to continue to rise in price, you'd imagine. And I don't expect a clean sheet for Spurs, but I don't see West Ham scoring many goals. So yeah, maybe Porro's the one. Tanish says, there are 2 theories. Either Gomez starts from the go, or Tsimikas starts and they go 2 or 3 goals up at half-time and he gets subbed. I do see what you mean. And I do think even if Tsimikas starts, he gets an early sub, but it may be at 61, 62 minutes. I think that's what we're hoping for, really, isn't it? Attacking return, clean sheet, comes off just after 60 minutes. It's probably the best we can hope for from Tsimikas. He's definitely not getting 90, that's for sure. I don't think Tsimikas or Darwin will start. That's not reverse psychology. I genuinely don't see Tsimikas or Darwin starting at the moment for me. But I can't bench them just in case. Because if I am wrong, I've got 2 incredibly good assets against the weakest team in the league. So I think you've got to start Tsimikas and Darwin and your other Liverpool assets. But it is a bit of a worry. By the way, if you are enjoying today's stream, please smash that like button. It just spreads the stream out to more people. Make sure to subscribe as well. I am trying to hit 110,000 subscribers before the end of 2023, by the start of 2024. So please do smash the like button and make sure to subscribe. I do appreciate it. Starting Dubravka, who would you start between Cher, Lascelles, Gabriel, Maguire, Taylor? That's pretty comfortable for me. I would bench Maguire and Taylor. I would just go for I'd go for the triple Newcastle defence in that case, which is either going to pay off massively or be very painful when Dwight McNeil scores. Bench 1, Virgil, Colwill, Mitchell, Kudus, or Palmer. Ooh, definitely not Kudus or Palmer. Mitchell, Colwill, or Virgil. Who would I bench out of those three? I think I'd go Colwill. I think I'll play Virgil and Mitchell. Yeah, so I'd bench Colwill there. -4, Foden to Diaz or Trossard on Triple City at the moment. -4, Foden to Diaz or Trossard. I don't know that Trossard will get enough minutes. Diaz might not start, though. Yeah, I'd maybe go Foden to Diaz if you want to, but I'd keep Foden, in all honesty. Yeah, I'd still keep Foden. I know Aston Villa is not a great fixture, but I think he'll start again. If you're going to do that, Foden to Diaz. Callum says, bench 1 of Darwin, Palmer, Gordon, and Mbeumo, Watkins. I'm a Chelsea fan at Old Trafford tomorrow, so I want to back my boy Cole Palmer. That's a horrible decision. I think the only other... So you could bench Darwin if you think he won't start, or bench Watkins. I don't think you can bench maybe Gordon. He's not great away. The only one I definitely wouldn't bench is Mbeumo. I think all of the others you could justify. I would probably lean Watkins. I know City are without Rodri, but I don't think that suddenly means they're an awful defence that will concede loads of goals. So I would probably just about lean Watkins, but that's a difficult one. Porro J. I did that one. Okay. Cool. Thoughts on Brennan Johnson? I like Brennan Johnson a lot. I actually brought him in my draft this week, but Richarlison is back now, and I think Kulusevski's been playing far too well on the right, and both Brennan Johnson and Richarlison are better on the left, I think. So I think Son and Kulu are relatively nailed in most games. I'm not saying Kulu won't get a rest occasionally, but basically that means you've probably got between Richarlison and Johnson for the left. So maybe Johnson's minutes won't be as good as they have been in the recent few. So I like Johnson, but I think could become an issue longer term. Chris says Martinelli / Isak for Haaland / Hwang for a -4. Yeah, I quite like that, Chris. I do quite like that. Hwang and Haaland in sounds quite nice. I'll run a poll in a second to see what you think of my transfer options. One free transfer. Would you transfer Diaby to Foden, Sterling or Gordon for free? I quite like Diaby to Sterling or Gordon. I wouldn't go to Foden now, in my personal opinion. If you have him, I'd keep him, but I wouldn't move to him now. Or just bank the transfer and have 2 next week. I'd be tempted to just bank it and play Diaby. I don't know that Foden, Sterling or Gordon have that much upside this week. So I think this week, Diaby is... maybe not as good as Sterling and Gordon, but it's close enough. So I would probably just bank the transfer, Marcus. Alexander says, start Lascelles / Gordon or Simicast / Darwin mix. Simicast and Darwin are less likely to start, though. I would have Simicast ahead of Lascelles, and I think Gordon versus Darwin is an impossible decision. I wouldn't want to bench either of them. But I would have Simicast ahead of Lascelles. Because if he does start, he's got the higher upside for sure. Would you start Johnson or Kelleher in goal? Oh, that's a good question. I'd start Kelleher. Sheffield United really aren't very good. And I think Liverpool are a better defence than Palace, so I'd go Kelleher. Porro, James or Trippier? Oh, Porro, James or Trippier, Colwill? Oh, that's a great question. I'd go Porro and James. Just because I'm not convinced by Colwill still. I don't hate it as an option, but I think Porro and James are both great. Although Trippier. I hate that, Callum. Sorry. My gut instinct was Porro and James. Hey, Ross, would you do A, Martinelli to Son, -4? B, Adingra to Kulu, -4 to a full Trippier in 17? Or C, neither? By the way, Adingra is predicted to be benched. I would rather Adingra to someone else. I like selling Adingra, but I'm still not convinced by Kulu as an FPL option. His data's just never been good since coming to the Prem. So I like the Adingra option, but I would find another player. Personally, Flo. Although this week against West Ham, Kulu is a decent option. So you could go Kulu and then see how he gets on. Captain Haaland or Salah, love the content. Definitely helping me enjoy the game more. That is honestly amazing to hear, Sean. I'm glad I'm helping in that way. Captain Haaland or Salah, I think this week it is an easy decision. I think it's Salah. And that's not because I don't own Haaland. I said last week that Haaland was a much better captain against Spurs, and that proved to be true. I'm not biased in who I think is the best captain. Salah's the best captain this week. Villa are an absolute beast of a team at home. And also, again, City are without Rodri, they're without Grealish, and they could be without Doku. And I think even if they do have Doku, I think Grealish, we've said for a while now, is better for Haaland than Doku is. Doku's obviously going for goal a lot more. So I don't think City are going to this game in a great way. Wouldn't be surprised to see Aston Villa get a result. So yeah, I think Salah's the better captain. Should we run a captaincy poll in a second? We'll see what people are thinking. Captain Darwin over Haaland, Salah and Son. Not for me. It's too much of a minute's risk. Even if he starts, he's not going to get more than 60 or 70 this week, I don't think. Yeah, I wouldn't be captaining Darwin this week. I think there are other weeks that I would. Like, if he's benched this week, next week you could consider it because you think he's definitely going to start. I kind of need that feeling or confirmation that Darwin's going to start to be willing to give him the armband. Trippier, Hwang for Cash Bowen -4. Yeah, I actually like that a lot. Yeah, I like that a lot, Harry. Aaron says, start who? Lascelles, Saliba, Gahey, Taylor, Udogi. If you're starting 3 of them, I assume. If you're starting 3, I would go Udogi, Saliba, and Gahey out of those. Bench Lascelles and Taylor. All right, let's run the captaincy poll. When is the deadline? The deadline is in 1 hour and 37 minutes. Quick maths. It's at 6 p.m. UK time, the deadline, because we have a 7:30 game between the thrilling Wolves and Burnley. Although my girlfriend owns Hwang Hee-chan, and I'm sure he'll score 5 goals based on how our season is going. Captaincy poll. Game week 15. Salah. Haaland. Son. Other. There we go. There's a captaincy poll in the chat right now. Feel free to vote. As always, YouTube only allows me to give 4 options. Hence why I've only given 3 and then other. If someone's watching that is involved in the YouTube community or that is responsible for designing YouTube, please allow polls with 6 or 7 options. It would greatly make me happy. That makes no sense. Cash to ex-defender, Turner to Dubravka or Roll. Yes to all 3. I think all 3 are fine. I can't see the rest of your team. I don't know what your future plans are. With questions like that, it really depends. If you have no future plans, then make one of those 2 moves. If you need to bring Haaland back in, don't make those moves or downgrade Cash. If you do have future transfers to make that you need the funds for, then again, Cash to someone like Livramento or someone like that could be decent. Bless you. 3 to start. Simicast, Gabriel, Porro, Lascelles. I'd bench Lascelles there. I honestly do think that Newcastle will concede this week. It's one of the things that's putting me off slightly bringing in Dubravka. Also, I did miss the price rise because I wasn't sure if I wanted to make that move or not. Let me know in the chat. Just say yes or no. Simple, yes or no. That's all you need to say. Did you bring in Dubravka this week? Or are you going to? Also incorporate, if you're planning to do it but you haven't yet done it, will you have Dubravka? I want to see. I'm looking at the chat now. Oh, that looks very 50-50. Maybe we'll run a poll in a second. I think there's slightly more no's than yeses. Why don't you just play Turner on the off chance that he starts? I mean, it doesn't matter because he's not going to start. But I do get what you mean. If he does, I'd prefer Turner. Should we do that? Might be a bit of fun. Knowing my luck, though, Turner would actually play. He'll concede and Ariel will keep a clean sheet. I think I'll just leave it. Ralph says, hi Ross, top 30k from your videos. Awesome. I'm glad I can help. I wish I was top 30k based on my videos. Do I keep Diaby or swap him to Sterling? I'm going to get Sterling in 16 anyway. Keep up the content, mate. If you're going to get him in 16 anyway, I'd still maybe wait for 16. I don't think Sterling's that much better this week. My only concern with Sterling is he's on 4 yellow cards. Man United feels like a game he could get booked. So maybe wait until 16, see if he gets that booking, and then you wouldn't want to bring him in anyway. But yeah, I don't think Sterling's a much better option than Diaby this week. Especially, again, because Man City don't have Rodri, and their record without Rodri is bad. It's not like a myth. Like, statistically, they are poor without Rodri. And we saw that recently when they lost to Rodri due to the red card. Bruno Fernandes to Saka or Guehi to Trippier? Ooh. Do I think Saka or Trippier is a more essential player to have? They're both on 4 yellow cards as well, aren't they? Oh, Bruno's on 4, sorry, and Trippier's on 4. So maybe Bruno to Saka. I'd go Bruno to Saka, Mark. I love Trippier, but I also think Saka is ticking along very nicely. Yeah, I'd go Bruno to Saka just about. And I also think the structure of having more money in your midfield is better. I think having money in the defence is fine, but I've got a very expensive defence, and it's making a few of my decisions quite tricky at the moment. So I think if you're not already in that structure, I'd maybe leave more of the money in your attack. Chris says, which goalie should I get? I have Areola and Turner. I would sell Turner and buy Dubravka. Just take a hit. Take a hit to do Bruno to Son, Diaby to Saka, or just roll. I like Diaby to Saka. Yeah, I like Diaby to Saka. Do I like Bruno to Son? To be honest, I do. I like both of those. If you can do both Bruno to Son and Diaby to Saka, I like it. Otherwise, yeah, you could just roll. I think Mbermo captain Halls versus that Brighton line. If you think that, absolutely go for it. I love that. If you've got a bit of a gut feeling about captaincy or a player, I would always follow that gut feeling. Hayden says, Robinson for cash. Electric versus Liverpool, Nottingham Forest and West Ham next. My only concern with Robinson is that they can play Tete right back and Castagna left back. So I don't think Robinson's completely nailed, sadly. But yes, the fixtures coming up are pretty good for Fulham. Hi there. Also without Haaland, when Alvarez to Semenyo, the idea of Saka to Palmer and Darwin to Haaland next week. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I like it. I think I'm actually leaning towards not owning Haaland until game week 20 now. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. I just think it makes more sense for my team. I've stuck it out this long as well. Might as well continue the experiment. That's the way I'm leaning at the moment anyway, but I'm going to make that decision later in the week. Turner to Dubravka and Luiz to Palmer for a -4. Turner to Dubravka and Luiz to Palmer for a -4. Yes. Yes, I would do that, Bob. What a name Bob is, by the way. 3 letters, but brilliant. Patrick, who to start? Reece James or Tsimikas? Oh, that's a tough one. I'll go Tsimikas. Just because if he does start, he's just such a great option. Make sure to vote on the poll, by the way. There is a poll in the chat for captaincy. Want to know who you're captaining this week? Mohamed Salah, rightly so, seems to be a massive favourite. Oh, Zodiac says Robinson is also on 4 yellow cards. Didn't realise that, thank you. Also another reason to maybe not go Robinson then. Would you start Pinnock or Guehi? Guehi, for sure. Palace are very good defensively at home against bottom half of the table sides. So whilst I think Bournemouth have been improving recently, it's certainly not a bad fixture for Crystal Palace. Right, I'm going to end the poll because it's not changing much. Everyone's captaining Salah. Salah is at 80% captaincy, which is the highest we've seen in a long time. Haaland at 8. Son also at 8. So Son and Haaland captain by equal number of managers. And then other is at 2%. So if you're going against Salah this week, you are definitely going against the crowd, which there isn't an issue, but something that's worth noting. Right, I would like to know, what would you do with my team? Guehi to Livramento. Martinelli to Palmer. Are there any other options? I do have the option of Turner to Dubravka as well. So Guehi to Livramento, Martinelli to Palmer, Turner to Dubravka. I think those are my only 3 options I'm considering. I think I'm going to leave the forwards alone for now. Yeah, okay. Right, I've just run a poll in the chat. I'd love to know what you would do if you had my team. And we'll see what the chat are telling me. I can't roll. I've got 2 free transfers. So I'm not burning a transfer. I'm going to use one because I think those are all 3 transfers that are worth making. Martinelli to Palmer feels like the most useless for this week, right? Because Martin's got a fine fixture, assuming he starts, which, again, I'm still not 100% on, but if he starts, I think he's better than Palmer. The other two feel... Livramento I'd bench this week. The only transfer that upgrades my team this week is Turner to Dubravka. Do I just make that move then? Questions, decisions to make. Livramento or Lascelles. I think with Botman being supposedly back in training, which we've still not seen pictures of, but he's supposedly back in training, I would say Lascelles is slightly more of a risk short term. So I prefer Livramento to Lascelles because Burn is nowhere near being back still. Kelleher owner, move to Dubravka now, 16 or 17? 17. Definitely not 16. That makes no sense. This week, I think they've got equally good fixtures. In fact, no, I don't. I think Kelleher's got a better fixture. Yeah, 17. If you've got Kelleher to Dubravka in 17. The only slight issue with that is I would expect Dubravka to go up at least once more, whereas Kelleher won't. So I think you'll probably end up... that was a bit of a... anyway, I think Kelleher will be cheaper than Dubravka by the time you make the move. So you'll lose a bit of value, but I don't think you can justify selling Kelleher before Sheffield United and then Palace. They feel like two very good fixtures. But I don't mind either way, I guess. Hi, Ross. Loving the content as always. Torn between a -8 for Haaland in Game Week 16 or holding out until 19-20. Almost identical team to yours. Any thoughts? Yeah, Daniel, I've said earlier in the stream, I'm leaning towards not having Haaland until 20 now. I just think that you have to sell Salah and Son anyway. So basically what I'm saying is if I have to sell them anyway, bringing Haaland in 20 or 21, it doesn't make my team any weaker. Right? And it doesn't require any extra transfers because I have to use transfers to free up the funds anyway to sell those two. I'm almost saving myself genuinely 3 transfers. And I'm saving myself... Do you know what? It's so obvious that I shouldn't have Haaland. I'm saving myself 3 transfers and I'm saving myself the free hit if I don't bring him in. There we go. I'm gonna wait until Game Week 19 or 20. Probably Game Week 20 when he has the probable double. And even if Haaland doesn't double, he plays against Sheffield United at home. Darwin benched. Yeah, I expect Darwin to be benched as well, but you still can't bench him. You still can't bench him. Areola's next 3 fixtures aren't awful. Spurs away, Fulham away, Wolves at home. I know, but he's just played Palace, Burnley, Forest, Brentford, Everton, Villa, Sheffield United, and he's kept 1 clean sheet. And he didn't even make any saves in that game, or he didn't get any save points. Like, I don't really care. Areola stinks. I think maybe Turner to Dubravka is the right move. I know I missed the price rise, so I'm 0.1 down. But I wasn't sure what I wanted to do last night, and I didn't want to rush it. I'm still tempted by Livramento. Matoma or Palmer, love the vids. Definitely Palmer. I'm not interested in Brighton at the moment. There's something not quite right with Brighton. DRB replace. Also, the injuries aren't helping them, but there's still just something that's not quite clicking. DRB replacement's got 0.4 in the bank plus 2 free transfers. Gordon, Palmer, or Hwang. But just bear in mind, Hwang's on 4 yellows. Is there anyone else that I've missed there? I don't think so. Also thinking about Haaland back in 20. Darwin to Isak in 17 for Fulham, Luton, Forest, then sell for Haaland. Salah captain in 19 and sell Martinelli in game week 17. Yeah, that's along the lines of what I'm looking at. I just think that my team's so... And I'm getting more and more price rises as well. Because you can bring in players like Isak who might go up. You can bring in players like Gordon and Palmer who might... Like, you've just got more players. Like, my team value is stacking up very nicely. Should we continue the experiment? Let's continue the experiment. Raptor, how much do you trust gut feeling? How many percentage compared to what makes sense fixtures and stats? Yes, I refer to the Haaland dilemma we both have. I'll tell you what I would say on this. I could talk about gut feeling for a while now. I mean, I wrote an entire chapter in my book about gut feeling. I've looked at genuine psychological research around gut feeling. It's very tricky because no one really knows what gut feeling is. Like this idea of intuition from a neuroscientific perspective, from a physiological perspective, like it's very difficult to actually know what gut feeling is. But I'm of the opinion that gut feeling is driven by what logic, fixtures, stats are telling you. And it's your brain's way of bringing that and collating that information together, and then it provides that gut feeling to you. So I trust gut feeling quite heavily, But I am of the opinion that the reason for that is that my gut feeling is driven by a lot of logic and sense. But I guess everyone's gut feeling is different. Everyone's definition of what their gut feeling is different. But I trust my gut feeling quite heavily. The other reason that I trust my gut feeling so heavily is because of the emotional benefits of trusting your gut feeling. And this is something which research does support, is that when you trust your gut feeling, you're less likely to feel confused. You're less likely to have things like an identity crisis. You're less likely to feel frustrated and resentful. So I think there are lots of emotional benefits of trusting your gut feeling. Whereas if you just follow what a content creator says, or if you follow what a stat says on a spreadsheet and it goes wrong, you are likely to feel that frustration and resentment. So yes, I would say wherever possible, do trust your gut feeling, but don't over rely on it. If your gut feeling is telling you to bring in and captain Chris Wood, but the stats are telling you that's a horrid idea, at that point you should sense check yourself and say, actually, I think I should maybe go with the stats on this one. Hopefully that's clear. Still have my wildcard with Haaland and Mbeumo in my team. Okay, that is show off. Is it preferable to use it before the Game Week 18 blank to fix my team or after the blank? I think if you've still got your wildcard, Game Week 19 is the best week. So what we do, or what we call it in FPL, is you dead end into the blank. And what I mean by that is you can sell Haaland, you can sell Alvarez. As long as you don't have money tied up in Mbeumo, you can sell Mbeumo, and then you bring them back in on the wildcard. So you dead end your team into that Game Week 18 blank. You can build the team that you want with free transfers for that, and then you can wildcard those players out. Just make sure that you don't sell players that you have money tied up in. So if you've still got your wildcard, I would absolutely say that Game Week 19 is the better week to use it now. Unless your team's an absolute state this week, and then feel free to go for it. Eddie Landers, I should say, has become a Rap Tier 1 member. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. And make sure to drop one of the mods in Discord a message, and we'll get you added to our Discord chat. Wow, the PhD speech. Don't get me talking about psychology. I'll be here all day. Play Cliver or do Sofal to Livramento, and start also have... Whoa, grammar. Play Cliver or do Sofal to Livramento and start also have Trippier. I quite like Sofal to Livramento. I've got a bit of a feeling on Livramento over this period. I don't think he'll outscore Trippier, but I think you'll start to see attacking returns from him. So I quite like that as an option. I would be tempted. Mbeumo off to Afcon. Mbeumo is off to Afcon. I don't actually know if I still have that list. Let me see if I can get that list for you. If I go on this one here. What's up right now? Okay, that's the Botman update. I was getting the graphics up from my video before. The Asian and Afcon Cup. Bang. Right, hopefully you can see that on your screens now. That is the list of players, notable players, I should say, that are off to Afcon and Asian Cup. That's not an exhaustive list, but these are kind of the ones from an FPL perspective. And again, Afcon and Asian Cup, Game Week 21. Missed my super chat, Ross. Let me get on to that right now. Gakpo will start, but Darwin will have a crazy last 20 minutes. Would you risk keeping Doku? I wouldn't risk keeping Doku. No, because I think there are other good options at that price. And I agree that Darwin off the bench could still do damage, Sean. Absolutely. I don't disagree with that at all. Worth switching Adingra for Palmer? Yeah, I think so. I would do that. Okay, interesting. So my most likely move is the least liked by you guys. 18% of you think I should do Gahey to Livramento. 26% think Martinelli to Palmer. And 56% do think Turner to Dubravka. Now, chat. I wonder why 56% of you are telling me to do Turner to Dubravka. Is it because 56% of you have already made that move? Let's run a poll. Psychology. Everyone wants you to do what they're doing as a bit of confirmation bias to make them feel better about what they've done. So we'll see. Have you bought Dubravka this game week? Have you brought Dubravka this game week? Yes. No. I reckon it's going to be 50-50 would be my prediction. But maybe it'll be a bit lower than that. There you go. There's another poll in the chat. Vote on that. Have you bought Dubravka yourself? I'm going to go 42% of you, I think, have bought Dubravka. There you go. That's my prediction. To be fair, I'm kind of 50-50 whether I buy Dubravka or whether I buy Livramento. I'm less likely to buy Palmer. I think I want to give Martinelli this final game. A little send-off for me. A little send-off just to say, thanks for nothing, Martinelli. You've been an absolute stink bomb of a transfer, but I'll give you the Luton game. Hey, Raptor, Son or Saka? I'd want Son more than Saka at the moment, believe it or not. I think Sonny is so good. And it's not just based on the 2 returns, technically 3 returns if you count the own goal. The 2 returns against Man City. I've been saying that for a while. Play Gahey. Nah. Love Reece James, don't I? I'm all there for the pain with Reece James. Yes, hear me out. Yes, Gahey is more likely to keep a clean sheet, but James, fun. Fun. I mean, not that I'm psychic, but currently 42% of you have bought Dubravka. I'm dead on. I know you guys. I'm inside your head. I know you. United have actually been good recently, though. Have they? In what world? I would love to see a world in which Manchester United have been good. I think we stink. I mean, you saw us against a decent team in Newcastle. That was abysmal. And Mbeumo to Son for a hit. No, not in a million years. Not in a million years. Start Alvarez or Palmer? Good question. Palmer. If you look at the last 5 games only, they're top of the table. Yeah, we've won, but not convincingly. Not convincingly. Luton are fairly strong at home. They are, aren't they? It is interesting, because I don't expect Arsenal to score tons of goals, but at the same time, could Arsenal put 2 or 3 past them? I think they are strong, don't get me wrong, but they're not... I don't think like a top 6 side. I'll look at the data now, actually, because it's interesting to discuss. By the way, Fantasy Football Hub are still offering that 30-day free trial. Loads of people have used it. You might as well. And if you don't want to use it, just don't sign up. You can cancel it after that. But it's worth doing a 30-day free trial. They'll offer discounts throughout the season, right? All these cool discounts. But it's very, very uncommon for them to give you a free trial. So I would use it now. And genuinely, if you don't want to use it after that, don't. But I think you'll find you probably do. And there is a link in the description if you want the 30-day free trial. Teams. So we're looking at home, and we're looking at expected goals conceded. Luton are 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Okay, they're better than I thought. They're 9th at home. That is very good. It's so funny, though, because you switch it to away. Can you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you switch it to away, they then become comfortably, and I mean comfortably, the worst defence in the league. I was on totals. Wait, they might be slightly worse than that then. Okay, they are slightly, because they've played 1 less game. So they're 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. That's more like what I thought they were. So Luton are 13th for expected goals conceded at home, which basically means they are around slightly worse than mid-table for defensive data at home this season. What teams have they played, though? This is the other thing. Like, you can look at stats at first and it can paint a picture, but it might be that if they've played really difficult teams, they may be even better than we think. Or if they've played really easy teams, then maybe they're not as good as we think, right? So who have they played at home this season? They've played West Ham, Wolves, Burnley, Liverpool, Palace. Yeah, they're not difficult. They played Liverpool and Spurs, I suppose. Wolves, West Ham were really stinky at the start of the season, weren't they? I mean, Liverpool put... Yeah, see, this is the thing. Liverpool put 3 expected goals past them. Spurs put almost 2 expected goals past them. I mean, Crystal Palace put 1.68 expected goals past them. I don't think that they're... I think they're okay at home. I think they're better than they are away, but I don't think Luton are suddenly a brilliant defence at home. I just don't think they're shocking. This does worry me about not having Haaland now in 16, now that I've looked at it in that way. Aren't Arsenal away a bit stinky? This is the other thing I suppose you have to consider is how do Arsenal look away? If we go away data, and then we go expected goals, Arsenal are 6th in the Prem for expected goals. What about non-penalty expected goals, though? Yeah, see, they're a lot lower. The thing is, I think they've had like 3 penalties this season. So yeah, Arsenal aren't great away. Luton are okay at home. If I had to predict the Arsenal-Luton game tonight, I'd say like 2-0 Arsenal, 3-0 Arsenal, something like that. I don't think they'll put 4 or 5 past Luton, but I do think there are goals in it for them. It also depends a lot on game state, which sometimes we fail to consider. If a team score early, it could be a bloodbath. If Arsenal score in the first 3 minutes, that's a game over for Luton, probably. But if Luton can keep Arsenal out for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, they start to get a bit frustrated, Arsenal, they start to rush things, it could be a decent game for them. That's obviously what happened with the Liverpool game. Luton just stopped Liverpool scoring early, and that gave them confidence. It reduced the confidence that Liverpool had too. So game state, when the goals are scored, is sometimes overlooked when we're looking at data and football. Because it completely changes. You can see the goal in the first 5 minutes when your whole game plan is to sit there and park the bus and defend. That can completely knock the wind out of your sails. Why are you benching Alvarez over Darwin? I mean, I just don't think you can bench Darwin against Sheffield United at home. Away, sorry. Even if... I was going to say, even if we know he's benched. I guess if we knew he was benched, I'd be tempted to. But even then, 20 minutes of Darwin against that team, it's just... I don't know. I feel like there's... Yeah, there's some justification to it, but I want to start Darwin. Do you think we'll get any Arsenal early team news? I don't think so. Arsenal are pretty tight with leaks at the moment. It's very difficult to get early Arsenal team news, so I doubt it. Especially because they're not actually the early kickoff. Arsenal don't actually kick off till 8:15, and the deadline's at 6. So it's like, it's even earlier than normal early team news. There's more upside to Darwin. Yeah, I think that's it, Gabriel. It's not that Alvarez won't do anything. He could. But Darwin's definitely got the highest ceiling. Hi, Ross. Missed the stream last week. 85 points game week 13. 65 points last game week. Now my team is Dubravka, Porro, Geiki, Gabriel, Diaby and Burmo, Salah, Saka, Erdegaard, Haaland, Darwin. Yeah, looks perfection. Literally a perfect team there, pretty much. No major issues with that at all. Really nice. What's the word around Doku's injury? I haven't actually seen an update. If anyone else has, feel free to drop it in the chat. But I haven't seen a big update on Doku's injury. Would you start Wood or Garnacho? Probably Chris Wood, just about. Priority, Turner to Dubravka or Diaby to Palmer? I don't think either of them are priority, but probably Turner to Dubravka in all honesty. I think Diaby's fine for this week. And whilst Manchester United have been a bit stinky recently, defensively we've not been too bad, so I don't think Palmer's going to get a great deal. He could still get one return, but Diaby against Man City without Rodri could do the same. Dan says, bench Lascelles / Udogi, bench Alvarez / Gordon. I would bench Lascelles and Alvarez, start Udogi and Gordon. Bench one of Simicast, Porro, Gordon. It's probably got to be Simicast because he's got the greatest chance of being benched there. But if he does start, he's probably the best option of the three. I'd want to start Porro. I think Porro's got a goal in him in the next 2 or 3 games. I'd be very surprised to see Porro not getting something. And he's basically playing as a midfielder, and not as a 6. He's playing like an 8, at points like a 10. He's playing as an advanced midfielder for them, so he's got a return coming very, very soon. 3-2 JOT says Palmer, Semenyo, Taylor, Cash, Gay. He benched 2 of them. I would bench Semenyo, and no, I wouldn't. I would bench Cash and Taylor. I'd play Palmer, Semenyo, and Gehi. The Heroic Doses says, my midfield is Salah, Saka, Palmer, Gordon, and Mbeumo. 3.2 in the bank and a 1 free transfer. Nice. Lots of money in the bank. I feel like I need Son. So Mbeumo to Son or Saka to Son or roll. I don't think you can sell Saka or Mbeumo this week. I do agree you want Son in there at some point, but I don't think this is the week to do it. I would probably roll there, but I understand the desire to get him in. If you do want to, I would rather sell... It may be Mbermo that I would rather sell than Saka. I think Mbermo is slightly better for his value, but he's got a blank and then he's off to Afcon, whereas Saka has no blank and he's not off to Afcon. So I would lean towards keeping Saka. I think it saves you a transfer. Jamie says, hi Ross, start 2 of Gordon, Palmer, Alvarez. I'm torn. I would bench Alvarez of the 3 there, Jamie. Start 2 of James, Watkins, Kudus, Palmer. Cool. Lots of people with benching headaches this week. Not great. Start 2 of James, Watkins, Kudus, Palmer. I would start Watkins and Palmer. Watkins and Palmer, just. Fareed says, Ross, amazing content, thank you. I have Gahey, Trippier, Simicast, Cash, and Taylor. Nice. Have 2 free transfers this week. Thoughts about Livramento to Cash to free up funds? I think you mean Cash to Livramento. Yes, I'm a big fan of that. Go for it. Very nice transfer. Father says, hi Ross. Oh, I did that one. Polkit says, Ross, Sheffield United conceded just 2 against Spurs, City, United, but conceded 5 against Burnley due to injuries. Son, Saka, blank still in my mind. So what's the point here? Are you suggesting that Liverpool aren't great for this week and you want to switch captaincy? Where are we going with this poll kit? But yeah, I mean, Sheffield United aren't great though. I'm sure they conceded. Maybe they did only concede that many goals to those teams. Yeah, I think Liverpool will batter them. I mean, I think it could be 6 or 7. I think it will be an absolute battering. But I do acknowledge what you're saying, that maybe on paper it looks that way, but it doesn't always pan out that way. It depends really how much Liverpool rotate as well. If they've got like Gomez and Gakpo and they mix up the midfield and maybe give Endo a start and it's a very rotated team, maybe we'll see less goals. Kushal says, who to bench out of Bowen, Gordon, Alvarez, Darwin? Probably Bowen there. Yeah, probably Bowen. Bench 1 of Saliba, Gabriel. Oh, God, there's so many benching headaches. Bench 1 of Saliba, Gabriel, Trippier, Simicast, Bowen. Oh, that's tough. Probably Bowen again. Although Spurs. I mean, they've got Romero back. Maybe it would be Simicast. Yeah, maybe Simicast. But if he starts, I just don't think these Liverpool players are all going to start, in my personal opinion. Oh, the camera's gone. I don't know. That's a tricky one. I'm going to avoid answering that if possible. Edouard, Rice, or João Pedro. I don't know if this is to sell, bench, or start. You've just listed 3 players. I'm going to answer João Pedro with no idea what the other question is. If it's to start, yeah, it probably is João Pedro because he's on pens. YT says start 1 of Diaby, Taylor, or Udogi. Diaby, I would go. B-Max says Son in for Martinelli for a -4. Do you know what? I would be tempted. Although Martin against Luton, even if it's away, still not a great fixture. I want to remove him for a hit. Would you prioritise Trippier over spreading funds? Sorry, switch the camera back on. To allow players such as Porro, James, or Saliba, or Bowen? Okay, is Livramento enough cover to help Trippier? Trippier and Livramento are different players completely. They're like, I love Livramento, but he's not Trippier. I think I would feel comfortable going for Porro or James instead of Trippier at the moment, with Livramento there to allow me to have the midfielders and attackers that I want, though. I think if you have Trippier, you don't sell him at the moment, but I understand that buying him fresh at the moment, especially being on 4 yellows, I would be tempted to go Porro and Livramento and use the extra money elsewhere. Start Semenyo or Palmer? Palmer. Is Livramento attacking? I'm thinking him versus Porro, 4 clean sheets. I think Livramento's data so far this season has been rubbish, but he's not played enough games. From an eye test perspective, I think Livramento will get attacking returns soon. But data-wise, minimal games, I don't think we've got enough, but it's not looking great at the moment. But I do think it will improve, is my opinion of it. You're horrible at FPL. Thanks, have a great evening. Do you reckon Porro is worth the extra 0.5 over Udogi? Yeah, I do. I do. I think Udogi's not playing the same role that Porro is. Or he's at least not to the same extent that Porro is. Pinnock and Bowen to Porro and Sterling/Palmer. Yeah, that looks like a nice set of transfers, assuming it's for free. If it's for a hit, I'm less convinced. Play Taylor or Maguire? I'd go Maguire ahead of Taylor. I think both will concede, but Maguire at home, better defence than Burnley. Actually, Wolves have been very good at Molineux. Yeah, I'd back Maguire. Salah won't start against Sheffield United. What do we think, chat? Will Salah start against Sheffield United? Will Salah start against Sheffield United? I think if there is a game to bench him, this is the one, but I still think he's going to start. But I am more concerned than I usually am, for sure. By the way, that poll has ended. And if you can see in the chat, so that you know I'm not lying, 42% of you have bought Dubravka. I know my stuff. I also want to buy Dubravka as well. My girlfriend bought Dubravka. Everyone's buying Dubravka. I think Harry and Oscar bought Dubravka. I did miss the price rise last night, but oh well. 0.1 isn't everything, is it? What's 100k to a rich mofo like me? Rude. Of course, Salah will start. Who's the pessimist? Not necessarily pessimist, it's realist. Let's say realist. Be funny if Carrier starts now. Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. This is why I would sell Turner, though. Because if you sell Areola and something happens where they do manage to get De Gea before January, or Carrius does get a start, then all of a sudden that feels horrible. You know, you're going to have to make another transfer again. The thing is, next week we play Areola anyway. Right? Because Dubravka's got Spurs away and Areola has it Fulham away. Yeah, so I think you play Areola next week. So Dubravka this week, Areola next week. Back to Dubravka, Dubravka again. It's not until game week 21, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dubravka's got City and Areola's got Sheffield United. So I think the 2 weeks that you play Areola, it's this week and 21. Are there any other weeks that you might potentially be tempted? Is it game week 20 there? Yeah, maybe game week 20 you would be tempted as well. So I do think there are weeks when you would want to play Areola, regardless of how bad he has been, and regardless of how good Newcastle. I still think there are weeks that you might want to play Areola. And also, like I said, bear in mind, game week 20 onwards is the January transfer market, and if Dubravka does lose his place in the starting 11, then it may be that you need Areola back. So I would always prefer selling Turner to Areola. Bring in Palmer or Gordon for Diaby. Palmer versus Gordon still a tricky one for me. I still am leaning Palmer for the penalties and the better fixtures, but it is close. But yeah, I would just about, especially when you take into account price as well, I would just about lean Palmer. Also, as soon as Barnes is back, there is some competition for Gordon too. Not that there isn't competition for Palmer, but at the moment, Gordon's been so nailed due to injuries. But if Wilson and Barnes are back, all of a sudden there's the chance that he gets an early sub or the odd rest. Polkit says 3,300 people watching and less than 600 likes. Come on, people. Exactly, Polkit. Thank you for reminding me. If you're enjoying the stream, please do hammer that like button. Gently tickle the subscribe button as well. And I would appreciate it. No one subscribes anymore because I don't bother asking as much as I used to. So subscribe. You. Hi, Ross. Need to bench 2 of Watkins, Palmer, Gordon, Simicast, Porro, Lascelles. I have Dubravka. Okay, I don't think Dubravka makes a massive difference into your thinking there. I have to bench 2 of what? So I wouldn't bench Watkins, wouldn't bench Palmer, wouldn't bench Gordon. I would probably bench Lascelles, not just because you have Dubravka, but because Everton away is not a great fixture. And then probably Simicast, maybe Porro. It's basically 2 of the defenders. Whichever 2 defenders you would like to bench, I think, Daniel. I wouldn't bench any of those 3 attackers, in my personal opinion. Whom would you start out of Solanke and Darwin? Oh, that's not an easy one. Still Darwin. Who should I bench? Darwin, Solanke, or Gibbs White? Oof. Honestly, probably Solanke there. Just about Solanke. Because Gibbs White's also on pens, better fixture. We know what Darwin can do. I would probably bench Solanke. Ray says Adingra to Palmer or cash to Gabriel for a -4. I think Adingra to Palmer sets you up better longer term because Adingra is not a player you want to have. Matty Cash, there are weeks where you could play him, especially game week 18. I think I would go Adingra to Palmer. Bernie91 has provided their team and said, any thoughts about it? I think that's it's a fantastic team. I mean, you're not missing anything there. It looks like a wild card. I'm going to assume it's a wild card, Bernie91. If that's not a wild card, it's one of the better non-wild card teams I've seen for a long time. So good job. Yeah, wow, it's a brilliant team. I wish that was my team. Lascelles or Simicast to start? I think you go Simicast because if he starts, he's a much better option. Is Gordon fit? He is tagged yellow. I think Gordon will be fit. They seem pretty optimistic, but I don't know that for certain. And the thing is, even if he's fit, this could be a decent chance to give him a rest. So I don't know, is the truth. Taylor or Gahey in defence? I would definitely go Taylor. I would definitely go Gahey ahead of Taylor. Thinking of triple captaining Salah. Not the week in my opinion. Sheffield United away isn't as good as Sheffield United at home, I don't think. Let me just check their data. I don't want to lie to you. Maybe they're just as bad at home. Should we see that? That's actually a good question because I have no idea. So if we go teams and then we go... Right, so we'll start with at home, defensively. So Sheffield United... Oh, wow. Okay, Sheffield... I didn't know that. Sheffield United are comfortably the worst team in the league at home defensively. Okay, what about away? So 2.5 expected goals. Okay, I didn't expect that. Sheffield United are worse at home defensively than they are away from home. So if that's true, Sheffield United away may be a better fixture than Sheffield United at home. In that case, maybe triple captain Salah. I just don't know. I think with the minutes concerns, the fact that it's a midweek fixture, I think there'll be better opportunities to triple captain. But if you've got a good feeling about it, go for it. Do you know what I've just thought, though? When did they play? No, that was away, wasn't it? I was going to say the 8-0 against Newcastle might have skewed it, but that was away. No, that was at home. It was away for Newcastle. Okay, yes, that 8-0 might have skewed the data slightly. Yeah, okay. I was thinking that seems way too high. Yeah, so maybe they are equally bad away at home. The other thing to note was that, obviously, they've got a new coach today. So Chris Wilder, I believe, is back in. Do I think that Chris Wilder will suddenly make Sheffield United a great team? No. But will he improve them slightly? Possibly. There is a new manager bounce often. So, yeah. I think I would leave triple captaincy. But I think it's good enough to captain Salah. Maybe captain Trent. Could be cheeky. I wouldn't captain Darwin, just because we don't know if Darwin will start. By the way, you've got just under an hour till the deadline. Just a reminder, if you're just tuning in now and you're like, why is Raptor streaming on a deadline stream on a Tuesday? We do have Game Week 15 deadline in just under an hour at 6 p.m. UK time. So make sure you get your teams and transfers locked in. Play Dubravka or Onana? Definitely Dubravka. Yeah, definitely Dubravka there. Start Lascelles or Mitchell? Already starting Trippier. Yeah, I would be tempted by Mitchell, you know. I think the clean sheet percentage is higher for Crystal Palace than it is for Newcastle this week. Is Wolves' defence worth investing in? Wolves are very good at mauling you, but not as great away. They've not got a great fixture in blank game week 18. I think there are maybe better defences to invest in than Wolves, but I don't think it's a horrible defence to invest in. What do you think about captaining Son? I love it. I'm a fan. No issues with me doing that at all. No issues. What is your planned moves for this week? I think I'm not going to do Martinelli to Palmer unless we get news that Martinelli is benched this week. In which case, I may still not make the move and I might just start Alvarez because I'd quite like to start Alvarez. So I think the two possible moves is Gahey to Livramento or Turner to Dubravka. I think. I might spin the wheel in a second. Always helps me out. Charlie says, bench one of Tsimikas or Gabriel. Oh, bench one of Solanke, Tsimikas or Gabriel. In all honesty, I'd be tempted to bench Solanke there. I think Palace could keep a clean sheet here. Yeah, I'd be tempted to bench Solanke. Who should I bench? Rice, Edouard, or Mbermo? Declan Rice, I would bench. Great player, but not really a great FPL option. Start Tsimikas or Porro. This is one of the trickier ones for me. Obviously, if Tsimikas starts, he's a much better option than Porro this week. But we don't know that he will. So maybe Porro is the safer one to start. Wouldn't be surprised to see a clean sheet for Spurs here. West Ham have been struggling recently in both directions. Budget tight. Budget is tight. 0.3 to sell Areola instead at a big risk. Yeah, I know what you mean. I would just still sell Turner. I just think that... I mean, it's not horrible. I just think that Areola offers you a bit of security if Dubravka is dropped, if Dubravka becomes second choice because they buy a keeper, or just in the fixtures where you don't want to start Dubravka. I think it is worth the extra 0.3 to keep Areola in for that peace of mind. So I would still lean to selling Turner over Areola. Start which one? Wissa, Gordon, Reece James, or Tsimikas? Oh, Wissa or Gordon, Reece James, or Tsimikas? Am I starting one of those or two of those? Bit unclear. If I'm starting one, Gordon. If I'm starting two, probably Gordon and Tsimikas. Lima says start Palmer or Bowen. Palmer for me. Just for the pens. You never know. I think I am leaning Turner. So the reason I didn't do Turner to Dubravka originally is because I was planning on bringing Haaland back in 16, right? And I thought all of my transfers need to be revolving around freeing up funds to get Haaland back in. There's no point making a move such as Turner to Dubravka, which at this point is going to net me zero. Like, I'm not going to gain or lose value. It will just be a straight net zero transfer. I need to make transfers such as Martinelli to Palmer or Watkins to Mbama, which give me the funds to move to Haaland. But now I'm thinking I'm probably going to wait until 20 for Haaland anyway. And if that's the case, Turner to Dubravka is probably the smart move because it's the transfer that upgrades my team the most every single week. So I may well join everyone on the Dubravka hype. Gabriel or Tsimikas for Trippier this or next game week? What do you mean? You're selling Gabriel or Tsimikas to buy Trippier? If you're doing that, I would wait until next week and you could sell either of them, I think. If you're selling Trippier to get one of the others, then I don't understand why you do that. But I'm struggling to work out which way you're doing. What is the thinking about starting Watkins over Alvarez? It's a good question. Watkins has better data. Watkins is at home. Watkins' minutes are more secure. And City are without Rodri. If it was at the Etihad, I would start Alvarez, I think. Because Aston Villa we've seen for a while now, they're not great away. But at home, they seem to be a different beast. Like, I can show you that from an attacking perspective very quickly. So that I'm not just making up stats for you guys. So we'll go home first. Expected goals. So at home this season, Aston Villa have the best expected goals in the league. Let's see non-penalty actually, because it will change it slightly. Goal threat. Okay, so non-penalty expected goals this season. Aston Villa are just about almost the first, but they're the second best attack in the league. If we then go away from home, they drop down to the 8th best. So they're still not a bad attack away, but they are much better at home. So I just think, what are City's defensive data like at home and away? So away, City are the second best defence in the league, and at home, they're the second best. So City are just a good defence. But without Rodri, I'm expecting less from them, I suppose. Buy Gordon or Hwang for Diaby. I think the next two I prefer Hwang, but he's on 4 yellow cards. But if you're willing to risk that, I think for the next two Hwang, if you're looking longer term, Gordon is better than Hwang, I think. Alvarez or Palmer? I would just about lean Palmer myself. Just for the penalties. And also, I think Manchester United are a little bit weaker defensively than Aston Villa at home. Palmer, Adingri, Udogie, or Simicast to start? Palmer out of those four. Lo Celso for a punt. Yeah, I don't mind Lo Celso, especially this week against West Ham. I think Lo Celso is a great option. No issues with Lo Celso at all. If you are enjoying today's stream, by the way, and you're not yet subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. I massively appreciate it. With all of these tight turnarounds, there will still be videos, there will still be streams, and you won't be missing any content. And I'll guide you through this busy period in the lead up to Christmas. So make sure to subscribe. Start Dubravka or Johnson? I think I would start Johnston, you know, ahead of Dubravka. Yeah, I'd start Johnston ahead of Dubravka. Hey, mate, need some advice. Playing Simicast, Mick. Is that Mitchell? Don't know. And Zinchenko with Taylor and Maguire on the bench. Or should I play Taylor instead of Mick? I don't know if that's Mitchell or not, Jay. Because you've spelt Mitch wrong if that's the case. I would... If it's Mitchell, I would still play him ahead of Maguire and Taylor. If that's what you mean. Palmer or Darwin? Still got to be Darwin for me there. Harry says, Fernandez and Estepinian out. There's Celso and Trent in for a -4. Yeah, that sounds quite saucy. I like that one, Harry. Yeah, they're two really nice players to bring in. -4 this week and next to go Haaland for Luton means I lose Trippier, Martinelli and Alvarez for cheaper alternatives. Livramento, Gordon, Palmer, Archer. I think I'm going to wait until game week 20 to bring in Haaland. I just think it makes more sense for my team. But what would I do? I don't hate the idea of 2 -4s to get Haaland back. If you're sure you want Haaland back in for the Luton game, which again does make sense. Like I understand why you would want him in, but I'm going to wait. Bring out the will. I think you're correct, you know. I think it's time. Right. Been off the ads. So, and this is for me firstly. What transfer do I want to make? Livramento or Dubravka? First to 2, best of 3. Then we'll get on to other possible wheel spinach. This was always the plan. The wheel was just backing what the plan always was, which is to bring in Livramento. Is there anything else you want to spin? Just as I started to lean the other way, the wheel was like, nah, none of that. None of that. You got to bring in Livramento. Are there any other things you want to spin the wheel for? The wheel of destiny. Captain Haaland, Darwin, Saka, or Son? Son out of those options. I think Son is the second best captaincy option for me. Everyone's got their own benching. I can't really spin the wheel for all of these benching decisions. I think we'll have to leave the wheel spinach there today. Just because everyone's got their own individual things. And I'll just be spinning the wheel for the entire thing. Feel free to go spin the wheel yourself, by the way. I don't have to do the wheel spinning. Newcastle are not keeping a clean sheet in the next 2. I would probably agree with you in all honesty. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's a chance against Everton, but unlikely. And then they're very unlikely to keep a clean sheet against Spurs away. Polkit says, hey Ross, I'd planned to roll a transfer such that I have 2 free transfers next week to fix my defence. Now, should I still get Dubravka if that means I would have to take a hit next week to fix my defence? Do you really need to take a hit next week? Can you not just sort one defender at a time? Do you really need to sort all of your defenders at once? I wonder, could you do Dubravka this week, fix one of your defenders next week, and then fix one the week after that? Do you know what I mean? You don't have to do all of your... You don't have to fix your defence in 1 week. If the answer is no, then I wouldn't be taking hits for defenders, really. And someone's just asked on that, -4 for Dubravka, not for me. Because you're not even going to play Dubravka next week. Right, you're probably going to play Areola, assuming you keep him. Do your Super 6. I'll do my Super 6 after the deadline. Alvarez to Darwin for a -4. No. No. Is double game week 20 confirmed? Not yet, no. And it's looking more and more unlikely the more time that goes on. I would go as far as saying, this is just my opinion, if it's not confirmed by Friday, we probably aren't getting it. Well, we would get it. Obviously, that fixture has to go somewhere, but it'll probably be in 21, 24, or 25. Look like the 3 most likely. Do bear in mind that if it's 21 or 25, then we probably don't get Mbermo in that double, right? Even in 20, there's a chance we don't. But if it's in 21 or 24, very good chance Mbermo's not available for the double. And if it's 25, there's still a chance Mbermo doesn't play. So it makes Mbermo an even weaker option because you probably don't even get him for double game week 20. Start Darwin or Watkins? I'd still start Darwin, but don't be surprised if Darwin's benched. If I had to predict, I think it would be Diaz, Gakpo, and Salah as the front 3. Darwin got another 90 minutes. Gakpo obviously didn't start. Diaz came off a bit early, I think. Am I lying to you? When did Diaz come off? Diaz got 90. I suppose there's a small chance that Darwin starts on the left, but I think Gakpo's starting. My prediction would be that Gakpo starts. And if Gakpo starts, why do you not play the more natural left winger in Diaz and then just bring Darwin on late in the game? So I think my prediction is probably that it's Gakpo, Diaz, Salah as the front 3. And of course, there is the possibility that it's Diaz, Darwin, and Gakpo, and Salah gets a rest. You never know. But I think Gakpo's got to start for me. Diaz started Europa. True. So maybe it is... You think Gakpo on the left? Well, yeah, I guess Gakpo and Darwin can be interchangeable. No team news at the moment, by the way, for those asking. Sadly. Although I don't know what we're really waiting for, because I think Arsenal, they're not the early kickoff, so I don't think we'll get Arsenal news. And does anyone actually care about Wolves-Burnley? Like, Hwang definitely starts, Taylor will start, and they're the only 2 assets that I think we own. So I don't think it matters too much. Unless you're looking to bring in Bentley or something like that. Is Turner starting? No, it's just because at the moment I plan on doing Turner to Dubravka. So I thought I'd put Turner in net. Just so that in case I make the Turner to Dubravka move and forget to put Dubravka in goal. It saves me that embarrassment. My girlfriend did Turner to Dubravka last night. She's clever. She's clever, unlike me, who didn't make the move last night and is now paying £0.1 million more. Like, I know she's got a better rank than me, but you don't have to ask what she's doing. Like, it's more important. Start Flecken or Dubravka? Dubravka. I think they'll both concede for what it's worth, but Dubravka's got a better chance for a clean sheet. How many transfers do you have? I have 2. Since we're not bringing Haaland next week, what should we do with the 1.7 I have in the bank? Same team as yours, but no James or Martinelli. Well, there you go then. I would look to bring in someone like a James or a Porro. I'd improve the defence slightly. Or you could make a midfield transfer, bring in like a Luis Diaz or someone like that if you've got that spare slot. But yeah, a defender at that sort of 5 to 5.5, maybe a Saliba you could still look to move to. Is doing Watkins to Darwin good this week? No, not for me. No, we copy her moves now. Okay. I'll get her to do the next video. How will you get Haaland? The plan is to get Haaland in Game Week 20. I can't believe. I've been so happy and excited to get Haaland back into my team. You've got no idea. I've just been like, you know what? Let me just put myself out the misery. And I'm like, actually, psych, let's do another 6 game weeks of this. Oh, what's wrong with me? Does your girlfriend have a live stream we could join? No. Listen, she's only like 20 to 30 points ahead of me. Oh, she sent me her team. We'll look at her team now. I have to switch to my Zoom camera. Zoom. Can you? All right. This is... Oh, she's also still got another free transfer and money in the bank. This is the girlfriend's team. What on earth is this monstrosity? Like, it's so good. I honestly think that's the perfect team because it's double Arsenal defence. You've got Haaland, you've got Salah, you've got Saka and Burmo, Son. Huang, who across the next two is arguably the best midfielder. Dubravka in net. I mean, apart from Burn on the bench, who she just doesn't ever want to sell, apparently. I think it's a pretty good team. Annoyingly good, really. Frustratingly. WTF, that is a ridiculously good team. It's literally like a wild card. FPL Raptress. I like that. Sack Ross, get the girlfriend. All right, chat. Anyone else doing a goalkeeper transfer? Yes, I think I am, Anthony, actually. The plan at the moment is turn it to Dubravka. I should have made it last night, but there we go. Better team than yours. I know. Chat, don't think I don't know that. You don't have to... Just big me up. Be nice to me. You're supposed to be my fans. You're supposed to be my supporters. Start Castagna or James. Reece James. We always start Reece James. Wait, he's not really in space. Yeah, I know. I do love space, though. I just realised I have you in head-to-head in Game Week 17. Maybe James Toporo to close off that door. I didn't even know we had... I need to look at the head-to-head league, to be honest. I feel like I'm probably not doing very well in that. The Cup starts this week, doesn't it? Or next week? The FPL Cup. You've got just over half an hour until the deadline, by the way. Hey, Ross, no stress if I missed it, but might have my message. What's that, Will? Are you saying I missed your message? Let me have a look. Oh, I've just seen it. Will said, good evening, Ross. Living in the UK now, not Australia, makes the deadline streams fun. Where are you in the UK now, Will? Let me know. You don't have to give me your street or anything. Just give me the rough area. Porro to cash this week. Need to bench Tsimikas, Mitchell, or Lascelles. Okay. I assume you mean cash to Porro, not Porro to cash. Hopefully the other way. Yeah, cash to Porro. So you need to bench one of Tsimikas, Mitchell, or Lascelles. Probably Lascelles. Yeah, I'd probably go Lascelles. Is Gordon injured? I don't think so. He got a knock, but I think he'll play and I think he'll be fit. But this is a decent opportunity to bench him, I suppose. Start Palmer, Alvarez, or Luis Diaz. It's got to be Luis Diaz, I think, for me. This is the week to start him. Should I start Lo Celso or Alvarez? I'd be honestly tempted by Lo Celso, you know. Gahey or Gomez? Probably Gahey. Haaland or Son? If that's for captaincy, I think Son's a better captain this week. In Cambridge now. Very nice. Feels wrong without Newcastle defence, but same thought. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well, thanks, Will. Hope you're enjoying Cambridge. She has a better team because she is from Brum. Facts. Don't mess with the Brummies, whatever you do. Gordon versus Palmer. I still don't know the answer to this. Gordon's got better open play goal threat. Palmer has pens. Palmer's cheaper. Palmer's got slightly better fixtures. Gordon has the better fixture in 18. I could go back and forth on them all day. I still think Palmer just about edges it for me. But it's very close. Due to price and pens is the main two things that Palmer has. Start Mbermo or Watkins? Mbermo for me. Love to all the Brummies out there. Why are we all showing Brummies all the love? I'm not so sure. Alamate, sell cash for Porro or Livramento. Assuming you don't need the funds in the near future, Porro is a better option, I think, because he's more nailed, and I think he's got greater goal threat and attacking threat in general than Livramento. But obviously, there's £1 million difference between, exactly £1 million between Livramento and Porro. So if you can do something with that million, maybe you go Livramento. Start Wood or Lascelles? Maybe give Chris Wood one more chance. Yeah, maybe Wood. Just if it was Everton at home, I would say start Lascelles. But Newcastle aren't quite as good defensively away from home. Sorry if you can hear screaming outside. There's some sort of party on a Tuesday at 5:30 going on. Is Simicast, Livramento and Share a bad defence? No, that looks good to me. What is that cheering outside? What are they celebrating? Are they celebrating my team? Woo! I don't think so. Samuel Jameson. Bench one. Porro, Trent, Trippier. What? Okay, give me your team. Bench one of them. I would bench. Don't think you can bench any of those defenders. It would be either Palmer or Darwin. I would probably bench Palmer out of all of those players there. KG says, hey Ross, hope you're well. Sell one of Trippier to Share or Martinelli to Gordon to bring Haaland back. Also, on separate team, you've not got two teams, have you? Would you sell Diaby for Gordon for a hit? I would not sell Diaby to Gordon for a hit. I would keep Diaby one more week. But on the other team, I would do Martinelli to Gordon for free. Not Trippier to Share. Martinelli to Gordon almost feels like an upgrade. Trippier to Fabian Share feels like a downgrade. Charna 6 says, Porro, Gabriel, Simicast, Trippier and Lascelles. Which three to pick? I would bench... Oh, that is rough. I'd bench Lascelles and... The only two that I think you have to start is Gabriel and Trippier. So I think you bench Lascelles, and I think you bench either Porro or Simicast. If you think Simicast starts, bench Porro. If you think Simicast doesn't start, I would bench Simicast. But Trippier and Gabriel would definitely be in my 11. Do you think Trippier will outscore Porro and James over the next 5 to 6 game weeks? Yes, comfortably. I think Trippier will be an insanely good option for the next 5 or 6. However, Trippier is on 4 yellow cards. So I think there's a very good chance that Trippier does not play all of the upcoming games because he'll miss one. If he gets suspended for game week 18, I'm going to be gutted because he's got Luton away and it's a blank game week. So I'm kind of hoping he picks up the suspension. Do you know what? If Trippier could get himself booked this week, he's got Spurs away next week. Yeah, Trippier yellow card this week, but still picking up a goal and an assist would be great. That'd be very nice. Tony Harrison has just become a Rap Tier 1 member. Thank you very much, Tony. I appreciate you. And welcome. Make sure you get added to our group chat on Discord. Drop me a message or drop one of the Discord mods a message, and we'll get you added. Mr. Dinosaur, hello. Do I transfer in Cunha or Edouard? I feel Cunha is in some good form. He just stinks. He's such a bad finisher. I don't like Cunha or Edouard. How about that? How about that for you? I think I would go like Semenyo if you need a cheap forward. I'm just not convinced by either of them. If I were to, Cunha's got 2 decent fixtures. Whereas, obviously, Edouard's got 1. So I would maybe lean towards Cunha. David says, play Lascelles and roll or cash to another defender. Any recommendations? I have 0.3 in the bank. If you can afford it, Porro. Otherwise, I would play Lascelles and roll. Would be the way I would view that. Hey, Ross, could you ask the missus James or Colwill? James or Colwill? She's pulling a face like neither. Probably James, but taking into account price, maybe Colwill is our answer. She's rightly so quite hesitant on Reece James. I just love Reece James, you know. Who to bench? Palmer, Reece James, or Bowen? Speak of the devil. I would bench, honestly, I would bench Reece James. I'd play Palmer and Bowen ahead of Reece James. Cash to Porro for a -4, or play a Dingra bench Cash. I'd maybe do Cash to Porro and just get it done. Yeah, I'd be tempted to do Cash to Porro and get it done. Martinelli to Saka / Brennan Johnson, or roll? I'd roll. Give Martinelli one more week. Start Diaby or Alvarez. Got Ollie, no Haaland. Ooh, that's a tight one. I would just about lean Alvarez. It's a very, very tight one, though. Just about lean Alvarez. Adrian says, start Cher or Gahey. I have Dubravka and Gordon. I would just about lean Gahey. Just. That's very close, though. AI or AL. Don't know if there's capital Y or a lowercase L. Areola / Sanchez to Dubravka, or Sofal to Livramento. It will be a double up with Trippier. I'm currently facing the same dilemma. The only thing I would say is you've already got Sanchez, and I think Sanchez is an excellent goalkeeper to have. So because you already have Sanchez, I would do Sofal to Livramento. Is there an argument for Son captain over Salah? Absolutely, and I do not mind it at all. But I still think Salah is the best captaincy option. But I think there is an argument for it, for sure. Not a question, just want to shout out my favourite FPL content creator at the moment. Keep it up, Ross. Thank you so much. Imagine super chatting just to say something nice. You are more than welcome, and I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the kind words. Oh. We have got under half an hour until the deadline. We Talk Football says Gahey or Lascelles to start. Gahey. Second dilemma, start Alvarez or Palmer. Just about Palmer due to the pens. I know it sounds sometimes like we overemphasize penalties, but I would say two things on this. I would never say to start a player that is on penalties just because they're on penalties ahead of someone else. Right? If you were saying Darwin or Palmer, I would still say Darwin because I think he's a better option than Palmer. But when it's 50-50, I will lean towards the penalty taker. And the other thing to note is there have been more penalties this year. And I think that will continue with the way that VAR is currently set up. So I do think it is worth, if you have a 50-50 decision, whether that be a transfer, like Gordon versus Palmer, or whether that be a starting option, such as Palmer versus Alvarez, I will tend to back the penalty taker. But no, you cannot predict in any given week whether there will be a penalty or not. It's impossible to do. But there seems to be a quite great... words. There seems to be quite a lot of them at the moment. Why are people selling Lascelles? I don't think many people are, but I think the main reason is that it looks like Botman is back from his injury. Not ready to start, but soon he will be. So sooner rather than later, Lascelles could be an option. I wouldn't be selling Lascelles at the moment myself, though. KG says, in the choice between selling Trippier or Martinelli to sign Haaland, you suggested selling Martinelli. Wouldn't you be worried about missing out on Martinelli versus Luton? In other words, Haaland and Gordon or Martinelli and Alvarez? Not really, because number one, Martinelli's been really stinky this season. In every single game, he's putting up poor data. Number two, Luton are pretty good at home. We've just spoken about that, and Arsenal aren't great away from home. So whilst I expect Arsenal to score a couple, and whilst Martinelli could return, I'm not expecting a haul from Martinelli. I think the most you can expect from him in this game is like 7 or 8 points, which, again, you wouldn't want to sell that, but I don't think you'll get heavily punished for selling Martinelli this week. That's my prediction anyway. Greg has become a Wrap Tier 1 member. Thank you very much. We've got 3 new Wrap Tier 1 members. If you do want to sign up to become a member, I don't really push it very often, but you can become a Wrap Tier 1 member. You can do that using the buttons in the chat, or there's a link in the description, or you can sign up to the Patreon. It does pretty much the same thing. They're the same prices. It's just whether you want to be a member on YouTube or whether you want to be a member on Patreon. But if you would like to, I do appreciate the support. It allows me to keep doing what I'm doing. You're loving the word stinky today. I do love the word stinky for sure. It's a great word. Saying a team stink is slightly kinder than saying like they're crap, you know? It's just a slightly softer word. It's also quite a funny word as well. 25 minutes until the deadline. Start thinking about getting those teams locked in. Abdo says, cash to Livramento or get Dubravka, no Trippier. Cash to Livramento feels like a nice transfer. If I still had cash, that's nice because you're saving like 0.7 million-ish. So I would maybe do that. How many free transfers do you have? I've got 2. I've got 2 free transfers. Probably about to make one in a second. And I think it's going to be Turner to Dubravka, believe it or not. Which I think, number 1, I should have made that move last night. But number 2, it probably does. I wouldn't say that it confirms that I'll go without Haaland in 16. But it makes it more likely because then I haven't used one of my transfers to free up funds to do it. So I think Turner to Dubravka, which means no Haaland until game week 20. Don't know why I'm doing this to myself. It does just mean next week I don't have a great captaincy option. I've got Salah against Palace away, which isn't awful considering the injuries that Palace have, but not a fixture I love. I could obviously go Son against Newcastle at home because Newcastle aren't as great defensively away, and also Son against a team that pushes up the pitch could be dangerous. Who else do I have as an option? I mean, Mbeumo's not got a horrible fixture against Sheffield United away, but do I trust Mbeumo with the armband? It probably would still be Salah captain, but I would definitely obviously rather have Haaland captain in an ideal world. Papa Raptor. I like that. Is Tsimikas starting? Love you. I love you too. Is Tsimikas starting? Good question. I am going to say I don't know, sadly. I would predict no. But there have been some predicted lineups going around today from some fairly reputable Liverpool sources. But again, they're predictions, not leaks. And I've seen 2 separate predictions that Tsimikas starts. Both of those, I should note, Darwin was on the bench and Gakpo was starting. But in both of them, Tsimikas was in the 11. So maybe Tsimikas does start, but I'm less convinced. I think it'll be Gomez at left back. We saw it against Luton. It didn't work out very well for Liverpool, but we saw that Tsimikas was benched and Gomez started. I think we could see the same. KG says, that's another super chat. By the way, thank you. You're paying the bills by yourself. Might be a stupid question. Might be because I'm a United fan, or might just be because I want to super chat you because you're awesome. Thank you. But start James versus United or Taylor versus Wolves? No, it's not a stupid question at all. I think both will concede, but I think that James has much greater attacking threat than Taylor. So for that reason, I would back Reece James. But I think both will concede. Wolves are very good at Molineux. Burnley, despite their performance against Sheffield United, aren't a great team. But James definitely has the greater attacking threat, so I would lean that way. Do you trust Darwin from bench more than Alvarez starting? Villa's defence is not that good and City will do whatever to win. Villa's defence is pretty good at home. Not great, but pretty good. The thing is, I still don't know that I can't bench Darwin because I don't know that he'll be on the bench. Firstly, it could be that Darwin was going to start anyway. But secondly, let's say, for example, Gakpo gets a stomach bug overnight, right? And then he doesn't play. And then Darwin starts. I've got Darwin against Sheffield United away on my bench from the start. So you never know what could happen in the next 24 hours. And you also don't know what Klopp's plan is. Maybe Klopp sees the Palace game as the perfect one for Gakpo. Maybe he's looked at all of the tactical analysis, which we haven't as FPL managers. Let's be honest. We have not looked into the amount of detail that Klopp has. Maybe he sees that and goes, that is such a Gakpo fixture. I need him fit for then. I'm going to start Darwin and then bench him against Palace. You never know. And I just think the fixture is that good that I don't think I could start Alvarez, unfortunately. As much as I would love to get Alvarez in the 11, I just don't see a spot to do it. Mbeumo to Son for a -4. No, not for me. Not for me. Bench one of Cash, Livramento or Wan-Bissaka. Cash. Yeah, I'd bench Cash. I'd start Livramento or Wan-Bissaka. Ross, would you transfer Doku or keep him for a -4? I'd probably transfer him out. Yeah, I'd probably sell him. I've been watching your FPL content for over 3 years now. I really love your content. I wish I could give you a hug. Keep up the great work. Much love from Singapore. Thank you, Kimmy. I wish I could receive said hug. And thank you for watching the content. It's very kind of you. And for the super chat as well. Doubly kind. Is João Pedro good for this weekend? If he starts. It's the same every week with João Pedro. It's the same with all the Brighton attackers. If they start, they're fine. Yeah, I think he'll start. But I say this every week, and he doesn't. But I think he'll start, and yes, I think he's a good option. FPL Scoped's been a member for 21 months, almost 2 years. It's so cool to see all of the members in the chat that have been here for 2 years. Mental. I appreciate you all very much if you remember. Pedro doesn't start and he still scores. He's ridiculous. Yeah, I know he is. I don't understand why and how he doesn't get into the starting 11. Is Girlfriend Raptor in the background? Yeah, Girlfriend Raptor's there. Not Taylor. I'm not pointing at Charlie Taylor, but Girlfriend Raptor's just there. Right, I'm going to make my transfer very briefly. So give me a second. I'm just going to do the safe transfer, which I should have done last night. But hey-ho, you live and you learn. Done. Turner to Dubravka. Confirm transfers. There we go. All done. I need to screenshot my team very quickly so that I can tweet it. I'm not going to make my second transfer, I don't think. Why Turner and not Areola? It's simple. I think that there will still be weeks, apologies, where we want to play Areola due to fixtures. And also when Dubravka inevitably, I think, loses his place, I think that you might not want to transfer him out in the week he loses his place. It may be that you want to keep him for a few weeks as a dead spot on the bench. And in that case, you can then just play Areola, whenever that is. So I just think Areola offers that peace of mind, the possibility for rotation. And when you need to make the transfer, you're not forced to make it in that specific week. So I think keeping Areola and selling Turner is worth the loss, I suppose, of 0.3 million. In my opinion. But there are different ways to view it. Fantasy. Pick team. Just screenshot my team so I can tweet it in a bit because it looks prettier when you screenshot on your phone versus on the laptop. Don't ask me why. Bit of OCD there. Right, done. There we go. I'm another person that has done the very boring beige move of Turner to Dubravka. I now have a double up on the Newcastle defence, which is nice, especially for game week 18 against Luton away. Bench one of Palmer, Bowen, or Solanke. I think Solanke, in all honesty. Even though he's got pens. I mean, Bournemouth just aren't getting penalties. I think the last time they had a penalty was like April 2022 or something. Salah has 10... Sorry, Salah has 1 goal and 0 assists in 4 appearances against Sheffield United. So what you're telling me is he's due a monster haul. Is that what you're telling me? It's interesting data, though. It's definitely interesting. Magnetic Sparks Plays has been a member for 12 months. Thank you for all the support, everyone. I do appreciate it. Sania Imran has given a super chat. Says, okay, you've given me your team. Bench Cash and Gahey as I got. Okay, you're asking who to bench out of Saliba, Gabriel, Porro, Cash, Gahey. I think Cash and Gahey. I would start Saliba, Gabriel, and Porro. Sania. Sorry for butchering your name. Your guy said Doku is out. Oh, okay. Let me get that up. 2 seconds. Sorry, I missed that chat. Let me see now. Is it Main Road that did it? Oh, what is it? City Main. What is his name? I don't like how on X now you type. This is definitely his bloody thing. It'll be on. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's FPL Main Road. I was lying. I was typing him wrong. Doku's out. So, yeah, definitely sell Doku for free for a -4, assuming your bench can't cover it. Doku out. But even so, if you type in Main Road, you should come up with the person whose bloody account is FPL Main Road. Like, how is the search function that bad on Twitter X? I don't know. Elon Musk ruined everything. Okay, I don't think it's that relevant to that many people, so I'll bring it off the screen now. But yeah, Doku out. So definitely a sell if you have him. Also, that means, what, Foden on the left? Could be a decent option. No Grealish, no Doku. Got to be Foden on the left, probably. Is there anyone else that they can play out there? Bob? Can Oscar Bob play out on the left? Who else could play on the left? It has to be Foden, really, doesn't it? Which means that Alvarez is nailed on to start again, because he'll play through the middle. And then it'll probably be Bernardo Silva on the right. Does that boost Haaland? Yeah, Foden's probably better for Haaland than Doku would have been. Bob is a right... No, I know. Yeah, I know Bob isn't a left, but can Bob play on the left? I like that he's called Bob. I really need Aston Villa to do a job on City this week. I've got Alvarez benched again, and I don't have Haaland. You've got less than 15 minutes until the deadline. Make sure you're starting to think about locking your teams in. Is Gordon going to play tonight? No, he's not going to play tonight. Neither in Newcastle. Is it? They're tomorrow, aren't they? Oh, no, they're on Thursday. My prediction would be that, yeah, Gordon plays. But not tonight, not tomorrow. He'll play on Thursday. If you are one of the 4,000 people watching that hasn't liked the stream, we're almost at 1,000 likes, please drop a like on the stream. And whilst you are down there pressing the like button, there is a cheeky subscribe button next to it. So please smash the subscribe button as well. You can always choose to not subscribe at a later date, or unsubscribe, I should say. So why not give it a go? Subscribing does there are very little negatives for you, but it massively helps me. Apparently John Stones starts, not that anyone has Stones. No, we don't, Frosty, but I do have Watkins. I'm wondering, should I start Alvarez instead of Watkins? Flash poll. Flash poll. Who would you start? Alvarez. Watkins. I'm doing a flash poll. Who would you start, Alvarez or Watkins? Go. Vote, vote, vote. I'd love to see what the general consensus is. What are your plans for this game week? I've done Turner to Dubravka for some reason. Don't know why, a bit boring, but Areola's been annoying me, and I don't see many clean sheets for Areola coming up. Apart from next week, there's a possibility, but I'll start him next week anyway. Doku replacement, 7.9 in the bank. 7.9 in the bank. Sterling, Gordon, Hwang, Palmer, Luis Diaz, if you don't currently have a triple Liverpool. Gahey to Trippier, even though he has 4 yellow cards, for a -4. I don't think this is the week to bring in Trippier, because he does have 4 yellows, and I don't think a clean sheet's that... I mean, I know I've got double Newcastle defence now, so I probably should have done that if I thought that, but I do think that Everton could score here. So I don't think this is the week to take a hit for Trippier, no. Especially when you're taking out Gahey, who's got Bournemouth at home. Goodbye, camera. It was nice knowing you. Take Martinelli out and put Alvarez in. What, me? Nah, I can't. If I'm going to give Martinelli one more, I've got to start him against Luton, surely. Also, I might watch the Arsenal game tonight on Amazon Prime. So I love when the fixtures are on Amazon Prime. Apologies for that noise. There is someone with a loud exhaust pipe outside. Does Zinchenko start? Yes, I predict so. Wow, that is loud. When are you going to buy a new camera, Ross? When I hit 200,000 subscribers. Okay, so if you want me to buy a new camera, then subscribe to the channel. No, I will sort out the camera at some point. I'm sorry I haven't done it yet. It's just other things take priority. It's also that I don't really know what I need to do, and I don't want to buy a new camera because this camera's fine. It's about fixing like the cable or the ports or something in the computer. Bench Palmer or Alvarez? I would bench Alvarez just about. I said the penalties of Palmer would make me lean that way. You said apologies for that noise as my chair squeaked. I'm in stitches. Perfect timing. Good morning, you beautiful egg. Hope you and the missus are well. We are, thank you. Cash to Gabrielle. Yeah, Sounds like a nice transfer. I would just say that after Luton, the next 3 for Arsenal aren't fantastic, so you could wait to transfer in an Arsenal defender, but I also don't hate it. I like that that's like my sign-off. I'm like, oh, but I also don't hate it. It's just to cover me, because if it goes horribly and I've given you the wrong advice, I did say, but I don't hate it, you know? Shall I start Darwin or Adingra? Definitely Darwin. I also have Mbermo playing, and shall I captain Salah or Hwang? Hwang captain in the early kickoff is brave. I think captain Salah, Mbermo's fine, start Darwin. That would be what I'd do, Adam. And thank you for the super chat. I do appreciate that. That's very generous. Gahey or Douglas Luiz? Gahey for me. Although on pens, Douglas Luiz, I'd still go Gahey. Should I play Alvarez instead of Gabriel? Should I play Alvarez instead of Gabriel? Oh, that's a tough one, isn't it? It's almost a guaranteed clean sheet for Arsenal. Guaranteed 6-pointer versus Alvarez against Aston Villa. I think I'd start Gabriel. I cannot see a world in which they concede. Arsenal are the best defence in the league. They are even better away than they are at home. And Luton, for everything they've done defensively at home this season, they're still not great going forward. I think you've got to start Gabriel. You can't bench Arsenal defenders at the moment, I don't think. I have Saliba, Trippier, and Tsimikas ready, and Darwin and Watkins as attackers. Yeah, I would bench Alvarez and start Gabriel there. You're so jinxing it. I'm not. Listen here, FPL Pickle. No, yes, I don't own any Arsenal defenders, but I'm not jinxing on purpose. It's not reverse psychology. They are just so good, and Luton are not good. They should have kept a clean sheet against Wolves. In all honesty, before that Zinchenko mistake, they didn't really concede many chances. They looked so comfortable. When you watch the highlights, when you look at the data, Arsenal defence is just outrageous at the moment. So, yeah. I'm sad because, I mean, like my girlfriend alone, she's got double Arsenal clean sheet. That's like 12. She's starting the game week on 12 points. Bench Diaby or Alvarez given the City injuries. In that case, I would still just about lean Alvarez, only because Diaby's minutes aren't great. And he's still, even when Watkins hauls and stuff, it doesn't make Diaby a terrible option. Oh, who's calling me at this time? Shall I take that call? Not on a live stream. Hopefully it's nothing serious. I don't get many phone calls these days. Hey, Ross, shall I start Gordon or Alvarez? Ooh. Gordon. Udogi or Gahey? Ooh, that's a tough one. Gahey? Udogi? Gahey, just about. Fan funding. Sorry. Get back to it. Right. Sorry, chat. I lost where I was in the chat. That phone call put me off. Bench DRB, or I did that one. Cash to Porro for a -4, or bench Cash, play Gahey. I'll just play Gahey in that instance. Yeah, you don't want to sell Cash, but when you've got such a great option to fill in, I would go that way. Start Lascelles or Anderson. Ooh, I would go Anderson. Hey, Ross, shall I... Did that one. Sorry, missed this twice now. I'm sorry for missing it twice. Start 3 out of these. Alvarez, Bowen, Palmer, Mitchell, Watkins. I would bench Mitchell and maybe Alvarez and start Bowen, Palmer, Watkins would probably be the way I would lean. Hey, Ross, play 2 of Solanke, Palmer, Diaby. I'd bench Solanke in that case, Darren. Start Adingra or Taylor/Castagna, who first bench? I would still... Adingra is predicted to not start. I would probably say Castagna, Adingra, Taylor in that order. Probably just about. Okay, I think I did that. Right, you've got less than 5 minutes until the deadline. Make sure you're locked in. Odin says, any lineup news for Arsenal thinking about Nketiah? Yeah, I've seen a few people predict Nketiah to start. So there is a possibility that happens. I haven't seen any leaked news, though. So I don't know, sadly. But thank you for the super chat. The only thing that we have at the moment is that Doku is out and John Stone starts. I know that's not Arsenal team news, but that's the only thing I've seen from a reliable source. I didn't expect to get Arsenal team news for what it's worth, sadly. Just because that's why I haven't even put in the title, because I thought that would be misleading you. That would make me think that that would make me like think that I'm going to get early team news, which I don't think I am. If Nketiah starts, you better start Alvarez. Yeah, this is the thing. If Nketiah does start, I don't really want Martinelli, do I? I'm going to hope that he doesn't, or I'm going to hope that just in a one-off fixture. I mean, Nketiah starting doesn't mean that Martinelli can't return. It just means that he's not as good as an option. But in a one-off game, anything can happen. I think Saka should give Martinelli a penalty to boost his confidence because he hasn't scored in a while. Do you know what? I wouldn't even put that past Saka. He's such a team player. You've got just over 3 minutes until the deadline. Don't forget to lock in your teams. Get your bench order. Get your captaincy sorted. Make sure that if you transferred in Dubravka, he's actually starting for you and that you haven't accidentally left him on the bench. Make sure you sort out your vice captaincy. I think I'm all good to go. I don't like benching Alvarez again. I think I'm going to sell Alvarez next week. I know he's got Luton, hasn't he? Maybe I don't sell Alvarez next week. I will sell him for blank game week 18 though, for sure. Maybe I won't. I'm just lying. I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll work it out next week. When I say next week, we'll work it out in the next 2 days before the game week 16 deadline. Start Palmer or Ferguson? I would go Palmer. Haaland versus Son captaincy pick. I think I prefer Son captaincy to Haaland this week. I prefer the fixture. I still think Spurs will get a penalty soon as well. Just a feeling I've got. Just swapped Lascelles away at Everton for Anderson at home against the Cherries. Fingers crossed. I think that's the correct thing to do, Claudia. I would prefer Anderson to Lascelles. Gabriel to Porro. Not for me, no. Not for me. Triple captain Salah. I think there will be better weeks in the future, but it's not an awful week to do it if you want to do it in a single game week. There are definitely worse weeks to triple captain a player. Salah or Haaland captain. I think Salah, Son, Haaland in that order for me. I would prefer both Salah and Son captains Haaland this week. Is 5 defenders too much? Not at all. Ignore how many there are and just look at each player and their own merits. Are they good players to own? Yes. Are they worth starting ahead of some of your other attackers? Yes. Then start with 5 at the back. Captain Hwang. I wouldn't captain Hwang in the early kickoff. But he could do very well. I expect him to return. I've strongly advised people not to sell Hwang this week because I think he'll do very well. But I'm not sure I would trust him with the armband. Isak or Watkins? This week, Isak just. Longer term, Watkins is the better option. If it's who to start, Isak. If it's who to own, Watkins. White and Havertz start. Oh, God, don't tell me that bloody Martinelli's benched. Why are we getting team news now, which is a minute before the deadline? I haven't seen any team news, and to be honest, it's a bit late now. I just hope that it's not Martin. If Martinelli's benched, that's just been one of the worst transfers I've made in a long time. But we'll see. Yeah, we're not going to get team news now in the next 30 seconds that will allow us to make transfers anyway. Sadly, we're probably going to get it in like 15 minutes. White and Havertz have no impact on Martinelli. But Frosty, doesn't Havertz starting in midfield mean Trossard could start on the left? If Havertz is starting in midfield. If he's starting as the 9, then maybe not, obviously. But if he's starting in midfield, it means Trossard could start on the left. Bro is stressing for Martinelli. Yeah, because I own him. Play Alvarez next week. Yeah, I probably will, to be fair. And then maybe I'll look to transfer him in 17 or 18. Right, that is it. That is the deadline. Locked and loaded. We did it. God, that was quite a busy deadline, actually. Pretty busy stream. That 2 hours went very quickly. You are fine with Martinelli. He will start and score 2 or 3 points. Why are you laughing? Because it's true.
Well, you were going to say 2 or 3 goals.
No, 2 or 3 points, I think. Sadly. Right, let me quickly tweet out my team. I can't believe I actually gave in to the Bravka hype. And I can't believe I didn't make the transfer last night. What an idiot. Would have saved myself some money. All right. Cool. Done. Pin to your profile. Yes, please. Turner starts. Can you imagine? After selling Turner, if he now starts, because he's back into the start 11. Ross, why did you captain Dubravka? You actually made me want to throw up then when you said that. I just threw my eyes to my team. Like, what have I done? Jokes. Dubravka's going to save a penalty anyway. No, I don't think Turner actually starts. No, you're just... Why are you trolling? Turner's not even playing tonight. How do you know Turner starts? He's playing tomorrow, isn't he? Just seeing if we did get any early team news as the deadline was happening. Seen a couple of people captaining Heung-min Son. I like it. I'm a fan. Anyone else captaining Son? Check your X replies. What do you mean my X replies? Okay, so I think I pretty much confirmed I'm going without Haaland until Game Week 20, which should be fun. Some more weeks without Haaland. Son has the highest predicted points on Fantasy Football Hub. Yeah, there is a reason for that. Hub, unfortunately, massively favours home fixtures. Too much, in my opinion. I've spoken to the guys over at Hub. They seem to be happy with it. But, yeah, they really, really heavily favour home fixtures. We need FPL Raptor GTA 6 streaming 2025. Do you know what? I actually might. In 2025, end of 2025, I finished my PhD and I'm looking to maybe live stream some other games. Shall I start live streaming GTA? Who would watch that? I'd quite like that. I'd love to start doing some more like chilled live streams, some other stuff rather than just FPL. Not that I don't love FPL. Of course, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't love FPL, but just some fun other games as well. Maybe Rocket League, Fall Guys for like some chilled stuff, but then we want to play something like GTA. Cool. Maybe that's something we'll get started for 2025. GTA Raptor. Yeah, maybe the missus will get involved. Who knows? What are you getting your PhD in? Sports psychology. Sports psych. Yes, we can do the Super 6 predictions. Absolutely. Of course we can. I've already done them. Do you know what? Let me start again, because maybe I'll change my opinion. I'm going to wait for the missus to return. And then... No, you can take your time. I'll wait for the missus to return, because she enjoys doing the Super 6 predictions as well. And then we will predict the games. Time for gym before the first game tonight. Good luck, Zodiac. Today's my rest day. I've been really enjoying the gym recently, though. Oh my god, chat! I bought an air fryer. Game change. I don't know if I mentioned this on my last live stream, and it might be the best thing to ever happen to me in my life. I can't begin to tell you how wonderful an air fryer is. If you don't currently own an air fryer, just get it into your life right now. It's not the Ninja one. I can actually find it, one sec. It's one of the ones with like 2 draws, though. Is it that one? Yeah, that's the one. What are you rustling around for? Are you getting a snack?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm ready to do the predictions whenever you want to.
Okay. It's this one, chat. I don't know if that'll work if you're not in the UK. Oh, the link's too long anyway. Damn, I can't show you. It is... I'll copy the name of it, actually. Let me do that. This is the name of it on... Is this going to be too long as well? Okay, no, that works. That's the name of it on Amazon. If you want to... I can vouch for it being a good... Well, I've only owned it for 2 weeks, so if it falls apart, don't blame me. But, yeah, air fryer slaps incredibly hard. Right, we are going to do Super 6 predictions. The first prediction. Sheffield United versus Liverpool. Which way do we see that going? Sheffield United versus Liverpool. What are our score predictions? Where are you? Okay. Did you say 3-0? Okay. The Mrs. Raptor has predicted 3-0 to Liverpool. I will show you my prediction in a minute. We've got 4-0 from Zodiac. Mikel says 2-1 to Sheffield United. Or maybe that is to Liverpool and you've just done it the wrong way around. 7-0, 5-0, 4-1. 4-0, 5-0. Yeah, I'm going lots of goals, but I think they'll concede. So I've gone 4-1 Liverpool. Bit optimistic that they'll score 4, but we'll see. That does rely on them getting an early goal, to be honest. Where do you do this Super 6 thing, chat? It's like, if you there's an app called Super 6, but bear in mind, I think you have to create like a Sky Bet account. Annoyingly, like it's all interlinked with their betting, which is why I'm hesitant. I'm not for a second advocating you play this, but yeah, I think you do it. You have to like create a Sky Bet account annoyingly, but it's through Super 6. Does Mrs. Raptor not appear with you? She's behind the green screen. If I was to drop the green screen down, you would see her behind the green screen. Right, next game. Brighton versus Brentford. Brighton versus Brentford. Which way do we see this going? You missed a super chat. Oh, did I? Let me check. Focal sold Areola instead of Turner for Dubravka. Yeah, I know. We were not arguing. We were discussing this last night. Harry, Focal, and I have a group chat, and we were discussing this. Focal wanted to the extra 0.3 million, so he sold Areola instead of Turner. I don't understand that myself, but I get the logic, I suppose.
I'll say 2-1 to Brentford.
Oh, so for context, Mrs. Raptor and I never ever disagree on our opinions of these results. We always predict the same thing. She's gone 2-1 Brentford. I've gone 2-1 Brighton. So I'm going for a because Brighton have been pretty stinky recently, but I'm going for them to get a victory at home and maybe spark their season back into life a little bit. So I'm going to go 2-1 Brighton. She's gone 2-1 Brentford. This seems to be a real divider. Some people saying draw. You can actually see what people have bet as well. So 69% of people have said Brighton win, 26% have said a draw, and then 6% have said a Brentford win. So most people back in Brighton. Yeah, you say that, but they are quite good, aren't they, Brentford away? They're not horrible. We'll see. Okay, next one. Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth. Palace at home, Bournemouth away. Crystal Palace versus Bournemouth.
I'm hoping for like a 1-0 jobby, but they'll probably
1-0 jobby. Mrs. Raptor said she's hoping for a 1-0 jobby because she has Gahey in a starting 11. And I am going to go for the complete opposite because I don't have Gahey in my starting 11, so I'm going to go for them to concede.
I would actually say 1-1.
And I've got Palace 2, Bournemouth 1. 2-1 is such an obvious prediction. I always seem to predict 2-1. Yeah, I'm going 2-1 Palace. Roy Hodgson to be sacked? Surely not. Bournemouth looking like a decent side. Yeah, they are. I wouldn't be surprised if Bournemouth do get a result there, you know. We'll see. Okay, next one. Bit of a boring one to predict. Fulham versus Forest. Fulham versus Forest. So much for agreeing on everything. Yeah, we're disagreeing a lot tonight. It's because I can't see her face, maybe. Maybe we vibe off each other normally. She's all the way over there. Don't know what she's doing.
Which ground is this at?
This is at Fulham's ground. Craven Cottage.
I'm going to say 3-2 to Fulham.
Oh, we are going so different this week.
Yeah.
Okay, I've predicted 1-1. And Mrs. Raptor has gone 3-2 Fulham. You seem to be agreeing more with her. Lots of people saying like 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. Maybe I'm predicting not enough goals in that one.
I think that'll be quite a lot of goals.
Yeah, maybe. The Forest have been a bit crap defensively. Okay. Okay, we're getting some more exciting ones now. Manchester United versus Chelsea. Manchester United versus Chelsea. What are we predicting?
That's hard. I might back Man United today.
We honestly have gone so different this week. I just told them that we always predict the same thing.
I know you guys are really bad right now. But
Everyone else agrees. Loads of people think Man United will win. You are
I'm going to say 2-1 to Man United.
bonkers. If you didn't hear that, Mrs. Raptor said 2-1 to United. I've gone 2-0 to Chelsea.
You really think you won't?
I can't begin to tell you how bad we are. And the results recently have completely skewed everyone's thinking that we're suddenly great because we've beat like Sheffield United 1-0 and stuff like that. Like we,
Not good at all, but I think you might.
yeah, maybe. Nah,
So I have a bit of faith in you this week.
I would love that. If we could win, that would be fantastic. But I'm not so confident. Okay, and then we have Mrs. Raptor's team that she supports, Aston Villa, against Man City. Aston Villa City.
I reckon it will be 2-1 to City. Villa are good at home though. I don't think it will be like. I think it will be a tight game. But I think we'll lose.
So you went 2-1 City. I'm gonna back Villa. I'm gonna go 2-2.
I appreciate that.
2-2. Villa to get a draw. That would be the fourth draw on the bounce, wouldn't it, for Man City?
They don't have Rodri, do they?
No.
Hmm.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'll still stick with it though.
There we go. Predictions done. We get team news in 15 minutes, but it's for Wolves Burnley. Does anyone actually care? No. I mean, Hwang will start, Taylor will start. They're the only two options that I think people actually own and care about. I've gone for a Villa win. Villa 2-1. I like that. That would make a very happy Mrs. Raptor. Right, what are we doing now? We're going to click on this and then this, and just we can see if anything is interesting is happening on Twitter. Oh, by the way, we just hit 150,000 on Twitter, which is pretty cool. Thank you very much. If you're one of the 150,000, I appreciate you. What's everyone saying in the comments of my thing? No, nah. Yeah, so if you're wondering, because I was quite like clear that I wasn't going to be bringing in Dubravka, and I know I've just done it. It's essentially not because I plan on, because I just copy everyone else. It's because the reason I wasn't going to do it is because I needed to use all of my transfers to free up the money to allow me to move to Haaland, right, to free up the funds. But if I'm not bringing Haaland in until 20, I can use transfers on other things, such as sorting out my goalkeeper. So basically, like I said, I'm probably committing to being Haalandless until game week 20 now, which feels like a ridiculous thing to do. Cool that there's a Mrs. Raptor now. I'm impressed. Thanks. I love how no one calls it X. It just sucks. Twitter was such a good name. Twitter was just a great platform before Musky Puss took over. There's Luke's predicted 11, by the way. For anyone that doesn't know, Luke predicts the Man City 11. And when I say predicts it, gets told it by FPL Main Road. And then says it's a prediction. So, yeah, here's his predicted 11. So this will probably be the 11 for Man City, you would expect. A lot of it decides itself this week. They've pretty much got to play Foden on the left. They have to then play Bernardo Silva on the right. That then means that Alvarez and Haaland have to start. So, and then Rico Lewis is really the only other person that can play that central role, unless they want to start Bob, which I doubt they would. I mean, it's very... It doesn't choose itself, the team, but it is a lot easier than in some other weeks, I think. You're okay. Bob the Builder. Bob is class, but I don't think he'll start. How was the FPL party? It was good, thank you, Claudia. Yeah, we had 60 or 70 people came in the end, which was nice. Yeah, it was good. I think we'll do it again. We'll probably do it again in April, May. Ross, what do you think of a high-protein, low-carb diet? I think Mrs. Raptor is making a right racket back there. That's okay. What high-protein, low-carb? I would say I don't mind it. I think it depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to lose fat and gain muscle, which is difficult to do at the same time, then I think it's great. If you are trying to avoid putting on fat, as long as protein isn't fatty protein and you're still consuming below your required amount of fat or no more than that, then I think it's fine. If you're trying to bulk or put on weight, then it's a disaster. Like at the moment, I'm doing the opposite. I'm prioritizing carbs ahead of anything because I'm trying to put on weight. So it really depends what you want to do. But yeah, generally speaking, I quite like high protein, low carb diets. All right. Like a marching band. Was that? Oh, my back. Chat. You shouldn't sit in a chair all day, but I do. Ow. Ross, have you ever been to Ocean on a Wednesday? No, I can safely say that I haven't. What does your gym routine look like at the moment? Still PPL. Just rotating PPL, push-pull legs. And I'm bulking at the moment. I'm trying to put on as much weight as possible. I'm trying to be a beefy dinosaur. Raptor, you look like you play chess. Are you just saying that because I look a bit like Gotham Chess with the beard and the glasses? I can play chess, but I don't play chess, if that makes sense. Ross, have you been to Birmingham? Many a time. I say many a time, like 6 times, 5, 6 times. What are your early plans for next game week? Oh, good question. No idea. Should we take a look? Next game week. So this game week, because the site's updating, so we'll have to... Oh, I didn't realise Hub updated as well. Oh, that's annoying. Sad times. I can't look them. I can't look. Well, next week, I think probably Martinelli will be sold. Unless he does enough to convince me that he's going to stay. Martinelli will be sold. I'm looking at maybe bringing in Raheem Sterling. Maybe Palmer. And if not one of those two, maybe I do look to bring in Gordon. Who else might I be convinced by? Yeah, it'd probably be one of those 3 still. I don't see many other options. The other option I have, if Darwin starts against Sheffield United, I may sell Darwin simply because I don't expect him to then start Palace if he starts the Sheffield United game. The other possibility is that I sell Simicast or Gahey. So I think either Martinelli or Darwin or Simicast or Gahey, and I'll probably still just use the 1 free transfer. What's your prediction for Wolves versus Burnley, Ross? I think 2-1 to Wolves. Or 3-1. 3-1 to Wolves. Have you been to Rock City? I haven't been to any of these places. This is, I'm a lecturer, so I would see my students there, and I think that's a bit dodgy, isn't it? I can't really be bothered to bump into my students whilst I'm trying to club. Do you enjoy the Amazon coverage? I think it's Mars better than Sky or TNT. I do, but sadly, in the latest deal, which I think is live from 2026, or the 2025-26 season, which is not next season, the season after that, there's no Amazon Prime. They're not having any of the games, which is a shame. Yeah, I think their coverage is very good. And it makes it easier for me because I stream anyway, right? Because I don't have a Skybox or anything like that. I stream through Sky Go and Virgin Go. So when I watch games, I'm always behind. But when I watch Amazon Prime, I'm as live as anyone else. So I love Amazon Prime. I wish all the fixtures were on Amazon Prime. No one asks any interesting questions these days, really. Just comments. Ask me something interesting. Ross, are you a fan of the Pit and Pendulum? I don't even know what that is, sadly. So I would say probably not. Is that a place in Nottingham, or is that some sort of euphemism for something? Oh, it's a place in Nottingham. Good. I didn't know what was going to pop up when I typed that in. Oh, I don't know. It looks dark and atmospheric gothic-themed pub serving cocktails and glow. That looks nice. Oh, that is literally right around the corner from me.
I was going to say, I think I know where that is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I do know where that is. Yeah, that's literally right. Okay, yeah, I could try that out if you're telling me it's a good place. Have you been to Hooters? I have. Titties and meat. What more could you want? Do you give lectures with your hat on? Sometimes I don't. Depends what I'm wearing, really. If I'm wearing something casual, I can. If I'm wearing a shirt, I obviously wouldn't have a cap on. So, yeah. Seminars, I would. Yeah, do you know what? If I'm delivering a seminar, I would, but a lead lecture, I wouldn't. Like, so if it's like a group of like 30 or 40, I would. But yeah, if it's like a proper lead lecture, I would get the egg out. Outrageous. Nah. What is your favourite football boots ever, Ross? I think the Mercurials that I had, like there was this orange, but it was like when the Mercurials first came out. What year was it? The Mercurial Superfly, I think it was. It was in like 2009, 2010. That was the year. There was like a red pair with like the silver on the side of them. They were probably my favourite pair of boots. What are you having for dinner, Ross? Oh, that's a great question. I'd have to ask my girlfriend what she fancies as well. What are you for dinner? Do you fancy anything in particular?
Not really.
Okay, if you have a little bit of a think. I don't know. Might end up ordering something. Who knows? Need to have a think. I am quite hungry, you know. Although I've already had a lot of food today.
Not really.
What did I have for lunch? Oh, bolognese. Okay, my OBS keeps dropping in and out. That's not good. Right, chat. I think I'm going to leave it there, believe it or not. A little bit earlier than normal, but I don't think we're really waiting for team news particularly. And we're not going to get Arsenal team news for a while now. And I am rather on the peckish side. So I will leave it there. But don't worry, you'll see so much more of me this week because Game Week 16 is on Saturday. So you're still going to get team selection Thursday, deadline decisions Friday, deadline stream Saturday. So plenty more of me yet to come. But thank you for watching. Hopefully we get green arrows. Hopefully, who did I bring in this week? The Bravka. Clean sheet for Newcastle would be wonderful. And yeah, I'll catch you on Thursday for my team selection video. Thank you very much for watching, guys. See you later.